here.
This microphone
Going
is
live.
right where it needs to
Yeah,
be.
so actually, let's move this microphone out of the way here.
Like
Let me
our
actually,
mystery guest.
I'm going to
All you get to
disconnect
see
it
is
here
his
so that
face.
nobody hears it here. So,
Just all of a sudden the hand comes out.
okay, I think that first one is disconnected now. I think everybody check their mics.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
All right. Let's see. Let's get some people to get in here. I don't see who's watching. So actually, maybe we can have someone check out on their YouTube.
Back here, like
Yeah, let's see what we can do here. Let me pull up my YouTube channel, see what it looks like on my phone. So it looks like we're at. So it looks like, yeah, we're live here. So we got 2 people watching, and then if like, so we're kind of watching ourselves on here.
What's
All right, so it looks like we're on YouTube live. Looks like we're good. Things are coming in here. I can't see who's subscribed or who's watching us, but yeah. So let's.
We can't see you, but we see you.
All right. So before we get any further, we are recording live here on YouTube. This is our plan. So we're going to record our podcast here. And so this is the raw video, the raw footage, if you will. We'll be recording onto our Rodecaster Pro, and then all that's going to go here. We'll chop it up and we'll record our podcast. So this is the raw content. This is going to be the edited, cleaned up version. We're starting a another group here to try to get it out here. We are in the studio here. So as of now, we are officially recording our podcast, and we don't have any live viewers yet. So maybe once we share it up on the group, we can we'll get some people out there.
Share it on Fishaholics too.
Fishaholics.
Yeah,
all of the shit.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I
Are you
should.
going live right now too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's see if we can.
All the lives.
So yeah, let's the live on the live. So maybe there's a way
Like
we can
live feed right
share.
now.
Ooh, look, I've got this the share thing on our YouTube page, and so
Did
we
you
can
hear
share.
that?
Definitely.
Ooh.
All right, so let me just before we get too far, we're going to check in on
Get a little live video
check-in.
over here with the podcast. Got Sam right there.
This is the first time we do this. This is the first time I do this. We're figuring this out.
Manchas.
All right, so we should hear
Sancho.
it here. We should start seeing more people check in. I've got a few people in, and so definitely anywhere throughout the podcast, if you guys have questions or if you guys have any questions out there, feel free to type them in there, as well as actually, you know what would be pretty
You may
cool?
not be right, but we'll answer them.
Yeah, we'll
try our best, man.
We'll say something, right?
Yeah.
So the other thing too is that actually with this thing, people add their comments here, and actually, since this is our first podcast, it'd be pretty cool if we can have someone
Yeah.
call in, right? So if you're
Somebody
interested,
say something.
if somebody wants to call in, feel free to check in and just put your phone number down there, and we'll
First
call
caller
you.
gets a bag of lures
Oh, that's a good one. Ooh. So actually,
because we're gonna be talking about lures.
we are going to be talking about lures. So let's
Best
go
lures.
ahead and see what we can do here. Almost, guys. So give me.
my hands.
I'm figuring this out as we go. So be a little bit patient with me. This isn't as trivial as I thought it was going to be, or as easy as straightforward, I should say.
Joe Rogan makes it look a lot easier.
He does, man. He's been doing it for a while. So this is my first time doing this. So we'll figure this out. And I can't find the groups here for whatever reason. I can't find it.
Come on, Sam, you can do it.
I know, right?
No
You can
pressure,
do it.
bro.
No pressure. Just everybody. All 4 people are watching. All the pressure is on, right? Let's see here. Maybe there's a group. Can't catch. Fishing club. Maybe that.
Yeah.
By the time Sam finds it.
Oh, I found it. All right, I found it. All right, so South Texas Fishaholics, you guys are now invited to our.
You found it, Sam?
I did. So Victor's getting a little happy over there. All right.
Wrong button.
Just happy dance.
All right. So Victor's happy. We're in here. So it looks like this is the intro music. This will keep on running in here. So this is actually a really cool device here. So it just it allows us all to listen. It got programmed. So once we do get a formal intro music, that'll be the button that we press to introduce our podcast. So anyways, all right. So we've got all this set up now. We've got a few people watching. So let's go ahead and get started here. So So before we get too far, let's just go around the kind of around the studio, talk about who's here. And so I'll start with me. My name is Sam Robles. I'm from Palo Fishing, and I'll be facilitating the conversation here and kind of helping Monty extracting knowledge from his head about lures specifically. Go ahead, Victor.
I'm Victor. I have been fishing for quite a while now. I think since I was like 1 year old,
Yeah.
and I'm also here to try to learn from everybody that's listening, and of course from these two guys right
Yeah.
here, man.
Well, actually, I'm here to. I'm like the least experienced fisherman, so I'll be relying on you guys here. So I'm probably the oldest in this room here, but definitely the least experienced. I just don't have that. But
Well,
let's
not.
turn it on to the man of the
Well, some
moment.
of us work for a living.
Yeah. So all of you guys know, you guys have probably out there used these lures out there, caught a lot of fish with them. They've been doing great things. This is Monty Montgomery, and he's
Monte to
Monte.
some people.
Yeah, Monte, right? So here in the valley.
Don't
What's
matter.
what's Monte for?
Some people just call me that.
For Montgomery? Monte?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Montgomery.
Okay.
I thought you liked
He
the
calls
Monte
me
or
Manny.
something.
Monty.
Monty.
People say it
Mon-
different ways.
oh, I'm trying to say money, but
I call him
Yeah,
sir.
there you go.
I call him sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So,
Nice to
but
meet you,
Monty,
sir.
Monty is one of the guys behind AM Lures. A lot of you guys use them out there, so definitely. And the reason we're here today to kind of get him started. We're actually I met Monty several months ago. I met Victor several years ago, and collectively we've all been part of this local fishing community. And really, this whole podcast is around trying to increase, share knowledge, share experience out there to the people here in the valley, as well as other places, just general knowledge about fishing. So with that being said, really today I invited Monty to be a part of this conversation, really to kind of help us really get into lure fishing. I know a lot of people, especially here in the valley, like you grew up fishing, you grew up fishing with your dad and your grandpas, and like old school, like is not to throw lures, right? It's
No.
like
Chunk
it's
bait.
really like
Yeah.
chunk bait, and
No.
like our all of
Bottom
like
fishing. Yeah.
growing up, like our fishing trip started off with a casting net,
Yep.
right? And so even right now, like my dad,
Casting net and a taco, bro.
casting
That's what
net
it
and
was.
several tacos, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. True
And,
that.
and so that's how the way we grew up fishing, and really over the last 10 years or so, maybe 5, 10 years, here in the valley, we've definitely seen a transition where people were ready to kind of step up their game, or for whatever reason decide the lure aspect of it. So specifically, soft plastics has picked up a lot here in the valley, and nowadays, like almost everybody's throwing them, and there's a lot of them out there. A lot of them work. There's a lot of good lures out there. But nowadays there's still people that are still kind of tied in those old school ways that
Yeah.
chunking bait, and even any you come out to the arroyo and you see.
Which there's nothing wrong with.
Oh, absolutely
yeah.
not.
Chunking
No,
bait.
there's
We all
nothing
Way to
wrong.
do
started.
it.
We all started
That's it.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I started off with the canales and the other leg down the lake with my dad, and going out there and chunking some bait and catching whatever
Yeah.
we could. As a matter of fact, we even chunked bread.
Yeah.
We used to catch the carp with bread.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Crazy.
I mean, part of the Apollo name is, and I know we're kind of deviating here, but it's all right. Was There's a video a viral video that went out on Facebook, and it's a heron, and he's chewing up, basically chumming up pieces of bread and throwing them out there, and then he's waiting for the little bait fish to come in,
Back.
and he's
Yeah.
picking them up, right? So
Yeah, I
he's a
saw
kind
that.
of ninja assassin bird or whatever, and the heron is really the reasoning behind our logo. But anyways, so bread does work
Yeah, it does
as
work.
bait.
And if it don't work, you can make a sandwich on the way home. So either way, you win.
Win, win, win. So, but yeah, but really today is people. You've been out fishing, you love to fish, you may have even tried lures and you just haven't had any success with them, or you may have caught a few fish out there, you don't have a lot of confidence in them, and really just kind of help people kind of make that transition, like so that they feel more comfortable making that jump. As well so that's one aspect of it, and then really like toward the end we'll kind of share some tips around things that Monty does. Specifically, Monty's been fishing lures for a while, and
I'm
tips and
talking about
tricks.
too much now.
Yeah, well, I know. But I mean, obviously, like the picture
Yeah.
shows, right? That was today, right? So he went out
Yeah.
fishing this morning, tore it up, and then now,
Yeah.
and that picture that we have as our thumbnail,
He did
that's from
okay.
this morning. He did all right.
Yeah,
Did
Yeah,
okay.
he had some help.
I think he was chunking bait. I think he was chunking
Yeah, I
bait.
think he
but-
was
No,
chucking
sir.
bait. Yeah,
Definitely not.
but definitely. So
I'm not taking all the credit for it though. I've had a lot of, I guess you'd call them good mentors in a way when it comes to fishing. You're talking about growing up with, your trip started off with a casting net. Like mine didn't. Like I grew up throwing lures. I learned how to fly fish when I was like in second grade. So I was brought up in it. I wasn't having to make the jump from bait. I did use bait a few times. Here and there growing up, just random trips when it happened to come up. Usually it would be like soaking mullet at the jetties, when all the reds move out there in the fall, stuff like that. but I just never really got as much out of catching fish on bait as I did catching them on the lures. Um, and as far as that went, when I was a kid, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna throw lures because that's like what I want to do, and that's like the cool thing, and that's gonna get me what. No, it's just like I
That's
like
what
getting in the water and throwing lures. That was all I thought.
that was
So
it.
that's just what I did, and that's what I still do. I still love to do it. That's how I fish. Anybody that knows me knows I'm off the boat 90% of the time.
Yep.
I'm not.
He's just almost just like set it and forget it, right? Like
Yeah,
you drop him
Yeah,
off and
that's why I
like
like going with them. It's
yeah,
literally, it's like, I can drop him off
yeah.
with a couple of wipes and he's good.
and
Bottle of
sometimes not
water.
even that, right?
Yeah,
Right, like
Too much info? Is
yeah.
that
Don't
too
worry
much?
about it, bro.
Is that life?
yeah. But definitely he definitely likes to wade. He definitely can walk and
Yeah,
he covers a lot of area and he catches a lot of fish, right? So
but I've had a lot of people in my life that had been doing it, and have taught me a lot. And Albert's one of them. My partner in AM fishing. He's the A. I'm the M. That's how we came up with that name. He's taught me a lot. He's shown me a lot. I like to think he's picked up a thing or two off of me too. Just because of stuff I've learned over my fishing experience. That's all it really is, man. You're talking about, it's not really making a leap. Like if you got fish pattern and you know where they're gonna be and you know where they're eating, you can throw a lure at them, you can throw bait at them, like you're gonna catch them.
right.
Um, the nuances and everything about using lures that people kind of get all hung up on, like, oh, what's the best color? What's this? What's that? Like, there's no solid answer. It's not like, hey, this color, this time of year, this spot, that's what you use. Like it's not just color, it's not just size. Everything's just a completely new situation every single day. But yeah, it's like I was saying, man. If you can catch fish on bait consistently, just go to those same spots and start throwing lures.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
okay, maybe you don't catch them as much first off. All you got to do is stick with it. And okay, well, that one didn't work. Let me try this one. Okay, working it fast didn't work. Let me try to work slow. And that's all it is just figuring that out. And you do that so much that like you start realizing on a day to day basis that that's like what you have to do. I could be on fish on this spot and catch as many as I want in one day and then go back the next day and
Nothing.
there's nothing there. Or maybe they're there, but they're not eating. I mean, we got flounder spots that we'll stop at and we're walking through and spooking flounder. Then we're dragging lures in front of them and they're not doing crap. And the day before we had as many as we wanted, they were hitting like crazy. There's a lot of different, I don't really know how to
Yeah,
word it,
I mean there's a
but
lot of variables. There's a lot of
yeah,
factors that go
just an
into it. It's
infinite
just
amount of
like yeah.
variables, and
Yeah.
it's like just you just got to get out there for yourself. You can learn from everybody. You can get tips from this person, that person. You can't copy people though,
Yep.
like because you're not ever going to learn that
Yeah,
way.
you
Like
got to
if
get
you're
in the
just
game, right? You
yeah
Correct.
can't
Yeah,
you
you
can't
gotta
yeah,
just sit
that's
gotta
all it
back and
watch.
watch from
is.
the
I
sidelines,
know.
Yeah,
right?
I
you
know you
just
said you can't copy, but like one thing I do when I go with these guys as well is I watch what they're doing.
yeah.
I watch what they're doing. If
I'm
he's
talking like overall. Like, let me just clarify that like really quick. I'm talking like as an overall. You can't just be like, "Yo, I'm gonna lock onto this guy. I'm gonna fish exactly the way he
yeah,
does. I want
nah,
to know exactly where he goes every
nah, you
single
gotta be
day."
you,
And
man.
that's like because I know he knows how to catch fish, so I want to do exactly what he does. And it's like you can't do that, unless you're literally like with him on the boat every single time.
Right.
He's your dad or whatever. Fish. Okay, that's you can kind of get away with a little bit, but
You can't
it
be following guides
it
every day from the
Well, what do you
from the
yeah,
boat,
mean? What
right?
do you mean? You
or
can't.
even like you said, you're paying attention to us.
Is
It's
that
not like
Oops.
yeah, it's
Sorry,
just
Dan.
yeah.
um, but yeah, it's really just about the willingness to figure it out for yourself. Like I've got my own string of experiences that have led me up to this point, and I base all my decisions off not all of them, but mostly it's based off of that.
Yeah.
What
But
I've had success with in the past in the present, string of variables that I'm presented with. And that's kind of what I start off of, so it's like, okay, I'm in this color water and these conditions and I've thrown these colors and I like them and I've had success with them in the past. And so that's kind of like I can just make that decision before I even hop in the water, but that's because I've spent a lot of time.
well, I guess let's talk. I mean, that's a good starting point, right? So let's talk about just how do you prepare to start fishing lures for the first time, right? So take Joe for example, right? And Joe's just an arbitrary name, right?
Yeah,
But Joe has never thrown lures in his life. He wants to go fishing tomorrow. He wants to throw lures. He's going to his local tackle shop, or he's going to one of these big box retailers, right? Whatever. Like you walk down, and unless you know what you're doing, I mean, there's literally
Yeah,
hundreds, if not
Yeah.
thousands, of
it can
selection of
scare you.
lures, and
Yeah.
it's like it can be very intimidating.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
You
you
don't
You
just
know
can
got
what
get
to
you
get.
don't
lost.
know what you have, and like what. So
Yeah.
someone can you guide someone through that process, right? So like if you were going to start right off this from scratch, if you will, you're walking into the store, wherever you buy your lures at, and what are the what are the 3 or 4 lures or colors that you walk out of the store with?
Me personally, when I first started with lures, white.
White.
I would go with white. I actually started out with a popping cork. So I
Okay.
started using a popping cork, putting a jig head on it, and working that. Once I started getting
So
some
so so
action,
white, like you're talking about like a bag of gulp or under a popping cork,
like a
or
bag of gulp. I think a bag of gulp for anybody who's beginning. Gulp is a great lure.
hmm
Obviously they've been around for
I mean that's how I started with
Yeah.
yeah.
gulp. Yeah.
They're a great lure.
Or
Put that in a popping cork, and it's gonna do good. It's gonna do good. Just also gulp gets attracts a lot of little fish.
Yeah.
A lot of what's it called,
mini purge.
perch and things of that, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
it gets frustrating because you're trying to set the hook and
But
really
but
it's
but it's also kind of encouraging, right? Because
yeah,
you're
you're getting
getting
some
struck, you're
action.
getting
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
actions with a
yeah, you're
piece
getting
of
some
plastic,
action.
whereas before, like this is like, hey, fish are actually attracted to this, right?
Something,
And
Yeah.
yeah,
so
yeah. So
eh,
that's how I started popping cork with gulp white, and then you progress. You
so you're
start learning.
saying, all right, so just to kind of capture that is like you're saying that if you're going to the store and you're going to buy something, that walking out with a bag of gulp and a popping cork is a good place to start.
To me, it would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've never thrown lures, and I mean, we've never thrown. A lot of people never thrown lures, but a lot of people have thrown popping corks
yeah,
out there with live shrimp under it
correct.
or whatever, right? So, yeah, I think that's right. I think that's a
Yeah.
good point.
I think it's about getting that feeling of like,
Yeah.
hey, it was in a lure.
Yeah,
It was in a lure.
Building your
Just getting
confidence.
yeah,
Yeah.
building
Yeah.
that confidence. Then
That's
you
what it is. It's
change it to
just
a jig head
like being able to stick with the lures and keep throwing them. And yeah, you're gonna want to throw bait. Like if you grew up throwing bait and you're trying to make the switch,
or bread.
like you have to deal with that, right? Like you have to make like I want to throw lures now. Okay, you got to make that jump. I
yeah.
just took her out 2 days ago. She didn't grow up fishing at all. Like
Who's her?
you
He's
know,
her.
not-
That was a good use of it right there. Good job.
He's been waiting for that.
Friday the
forever.
13th, man. Friday the 13th.
Oh
We
yeah,
had to, bro.
it
You
is.
know, like so from her
Is
perspective,
it still Friday?
it's like what I was saying for me. Like I didn't have to make that jump, right? Like the lures have always just kind of been like that's fishing. Like that's what I've always understood is fishing. Like I said, I grew up down here. My grandparents fished down here. My freaking dad, everybody. Like that hunting and fishing outdoors. I've been doing that my entire life. I love it. I was born in the perfect place for it. Um, so I consider myself pretty lucky in that aspect. But it's like I was getting at. It's like she's walking around out there catching trout on lures like it's nothing. I'm not saying it was like
But
an
but
Show
easy
off.
thing,
but I think that yeah, show
but
off,
it
right?
was
Lucky you.
like that's
Yeah,
like
right.
that's how she started, right?
Where were
Yeah.
you
And
7
what I'm
years ago?
getting at is like I took her out and said,
Oh,
"Hey, here's
absolutely.
how to cast. We're gonna be walking out here in the water. Shuffle your feet." Just gave her pretty much just a little few pointers on
Intro,
kind of
an
like
intro. Yeah.
And,
how
and
to
well, that's
just
a
to
little bit, that's
yeah
talking about wade fishing, right? And so
yeah.
we can make that tangent here in a minute. Where about throwing lures on the
Well, it's
boat,
not even
drifting
about
it.
wade fishing. I'm just saying like you were asking if you're walking into a tackle shop and you're trying to figure out the labyrinth of stuff that's just freaking out there. There's millions, infinite amount of colors and products, and there's a lot of gimmicks. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of that. There's like that in any industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
My advice would to just be look at your group of friends, your family, whoever you got to have.
Well,
And if you
yeah.
don't know someone that fishes with lures or that's doing what you want to do, and this is pretty much just general advice, period, I guess you could say, but find someone that is doing it or has
Okay.
done it or
Yep.
likes to
That's
do
good.
it and hey, get some advice. Take
One
them to the tackle shop with you. Take them to lunch, and then say, "Hey, we're gonna go to the tackle shop, and I
Or
want you
or
to get
even
me
like that. I
started."
mean,
You know,
one
like
thing I really like about Victor is like he puts himself out there, right? And I'm a little bit worried that he's not going to come home one day because, but he does go on to these Facebook groups and he asks, "Hey, I'm going fishing. I got room for one
yeah,
more. Just
yeah.
bring your stuff."
And
And
they
if you,
put they put those memes where the guys are hugging and stuff.
yeah,
Hey, whatever,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Anybody wants to go?
anyone that
You know,
wants to come hang
yeah,
out and
just go
fish
go
with Victor.
fishing,
But
man.
I say that because people like Victor, you come out with Victor. And Victor doesn't care who you are, what your experiences are. You
yeah,
come out with Victor, and he's not a guy. I mean, he's going to be sharing the
just about
expenses
having a
out
good
there, right?
time.
But you're going to learn something from someone like Victor, right? Like Victor knows,
Yeah,
like he's going to show
he's
you how
been
to
doing
pop
it. Yeah,
guys, and he's been fishing with you, and he knows how to throw them lures. So
Yeah.
definitely, I guess where I was going at that is that if you don't know anybody that's throwing lures out there and fishing, and you want to get into it, there's people
yeah,
out there like Victor that are willing to show you and
yeah.
train you and
Like
do
you
that,
got to
right?
look.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
you
got
just
to
got
you
you
take
gotta
the
look.
you got
initiative
to
and
put
be
yourself
like,
out there and
"Hey,
ask for it
get
One
for
on
help.
Fishaholics even and just freaking ask the question on
Yep.
Facebook." I mean, you'll have a million people on there giving you all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Now it's up to you to filter
Well,
them
that's kind of
out.
like walking in the store, right? Like,
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
what
but
talking
that's
about
what I'm saying.
walking in
Like,
the
it's up to you
store.
to filter them out. You know, you can click on that person's profile and be like, okay, yo, I see a bunch of fish pictures. Okay,
but
maybe I lend more weight to what this guy's
so does
saying.
that mean you only catch fish if
Maybe
you post them on Facebook?
no.
You know
I'm just
what
saying, like if you're
There's,
filtering through the,
I'm
there's
one
a
just
thing
way
messing
to
I
with
kind
also
you.
of,
did is walking into an academy when I started with lures. What was I didn't know what to look for. But one thing I did was I looked for lures that I thought looked cool.
yeah,
But that's the gimmick
That's
part of
yeah.
it, right?
It's just
Is
I was like,
yeah,
if I don't know what I'm
I mean,
doing, I might as well look good doing it.
yeah.
yeah.
So
It's also kind of the confidence thing. Like,
correct.
if
I
I'm gonna
said,
throw
man,
something I know I like,
if
Yeah.
I like it,
yeah,
maybe the fish will
Well,
like it.
nowadays when I buy lures, they're all pink or something like that. So my
yeah,
daughter walks in and we're at the store and she wants, "Ooh, daddy, that's pink and
It's
it's got
pink.
diamonds
yeah.
on it or
It
sparklies on
pink's
it,
pretty
glitter
good,
on it."
man.
Yeah,
It
Hey,
pink's pretty good.
sometimes those just end up being the best
yeah.
ones.
Well,
You
Yeah.
I
know,
don't
I
use
mean,
them like they hang around on her rods most of the time, and we throw them and try to catch little uh,
Sam's lying,
bluefish.
guys. He
Yeah,
fishes with ballyhoo all day, every day.
I do. That's why. So
yeah,
I do throw a lot of
And
bait. I
ham. He
mean,
says he fishes with ham too.
yeah.
Spam.
He's got the ham. Victor brings the bread.
There you
yeah, it's
go.
just like yeah, that's
What'd
the
you
way we
catch?
do.
A sandwich?
They use from under cheese.
Yeah. So
But
all right.
if you're looking for just like, if you're going into the shop and you want to get the starter pack, if you will, of
Sure.
lures, and you're talking just strictly like color,
Yep.
you can go into
Or
size and shape and all that crap, however much you want. But if you're just looking basic color, you want a white, you want a dark, and
what's
you
a
want a
dark?
bright.
Like what is dark?
Like just color. Like you want a white, just
White.
plain white worm, pearl, anything. Um, every fish on earth has a white belly. There's white shrimp. There's all kinds of shit that fish eat. That any predatory fish is going to eat something white.
Okay.
You want a dark color, root beer, black, dark purple. Reds. You want a bright, which is like a freaking chartreuse and white, bright pink and white. It's like an attention getter. So basically, that would be like if I'm in a bunch of bait fish, there's a ton of mullet around or something. I want to throw something out there that's got a whole lot of flash in it, or it's got a whole big, like hard presentation, so it stands out from all the natural bait. Um, Obviously, that's assuming there's fish feeding in the area and they're chasing the bait, and it's like, hey, what's going to make them eat yours? But that's just that certain situation that I'm going to want to throw that. You want the white and the dark, mainly to match the water. You get out there and you're in some like real murky stuff. Um, I'll usually start with a darker lure, kind of match the water, darker lure, lighter lure, and then just kind of switch it up from there. Sometimes they want the darker lure, sometimes they want the lighter lure. It's just, but you want this variety. And me personally, I like to have a white, a dark, a bright, and something supernatural looking. Like,
So what's a natural looking color?
um, for me, it would be something just with some translucency to it, a little bit of flash. Just like if you look at a bait fish in the water, you don't see like a hard outline.
Okay.
It's kind of like any fish. They're designed to blend in.
Yeah.
So something that doesn't stand out a lot. You want a kind of a subtler presentation.
Silver and
Is
black. Or
Yeah, it'd be something like a I could freaking name any kind of our colors or all kinds of other ones. But you could do like we got one called a baby trout, which is kind of like, I mean, a baby bass. It's not like a new color or anything, but it's just a translucent, supernatural color. Doesn't stick out, doesn't stand out. And I'll throw that a lot on like today, dude. It was real high pressure. kind of calmed down. There wasn't a lot of water movement at times. Everything just kind of settles down. The fish sit in the grass and they get kind of lethargic, and you just kind of barely, pull something real natural, real clear looking over their heads, and kind of like force feed them.
Yeah.
Like that is such a natural looking presentation, and it's so just easy for them to just swim up and slurp up. Sometimes you got to do that. Um, and the color too. Some days it doesn't matter. You can throw freaking anything you want in there, and they're gonna hit it.
Oh, they're gonna hit it.
Some days I'm out there freaking throwing everything in the box, and then I put on some random color, and it's
It's
game
on.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like
Or
they
we've
just
been out there and you're catching on money, and I'm throwing,
yeah,
chicken chart, and we're both slamming fish.
yeah.
Those two colors are not even.
Those are both really great,
Yeah.
um, like natural kind of lighter
Okay.
ones. You got the money is kind of a red glitter on the back and gold on the bottom. It's got some translucency to it. It's a little bit flashier. And the lures can fit in different categories, right? So I could have a freaking bright lure that's also like really natural looking color, like
Okay.
like a pink and
So,
white.
so there's no like distinction, like clear
Yeah,
distinction. They
yeah,
can
no,
kind
no,
of
no, no. I
it's a
mean,
gray line in
I was
between
just
them
saying like
in
you want a
general.
variety.
Yeah.
So
At
if you
least
want,
four is what you said:
yeah,
black, white, natural, and
a bright,
a
like
bright.
Right.
Yeah.
like an
So
attention
yep.
getter, like just a hard white, something dark, dark purple, red, black, brown, root beer, and then you want just that supernatural, like that definitely is like you don't see a freaking pink and chartreuse mullet swimming around. So you
Uh,
throw,
sure.
like a
No.
see-through silver and black kind of
Yep.
thing,
Got
so
it.
it's a little bit more of like a silhouette kind of bait. It's not um and if you just get those four, Gulp's got them too. If you're gonna name the Gulps, I would get like a neon pepper, a new penny, um,
Yeah, new penny's great.
Oh
a root
yes.
beer, and then I don't know if they have like a clear one. They don't. They're all pretty hard colors,
Yeah.
but maybe just some one off, like some red one, or maybe like a pink, or
When I would use a gulp, when I was using it before, I would get a
Well,
lot
I
of
still use Gulp all the
the
time.
yeah,
yeah, the
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I mean, there's nothing
white
yeah,
wrong with it.
pearl
It
with
it,
the
it's
works.
it
Yeah,
works.
chartreuse.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just
and
and
it was always
that was
good.
a good point though at the popping cork too. When you're saying like yo, if you're fishing popping cork and shrimp, just take the damn shrimp off and put a lure under
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So no.
Like
Yeah.
and that's what I would do. I'd go to the deeper
yeah,
water that I was used to catching trout,
Yep.
and that's where I started. I
But
just
I
getting confidence
Well, that's
building.
a good point, right? Like, so when I got started throwing lures with a popping cork, right? And I started catching fish with it. I was like, oh, this is cool, right? Whatever. And then but I didn't really. It took me a while to learn that transition between like throwing a popping cork, throwing a jig head, right?
Yeah.
Because then I would go into like a foot and a half, and I'm throwing a popping cork with
yeah.
What you
with
catching? Were you looking for grass?
yeah, I was looking for
Just catching
whatever, right? It's
massage.
just like again, it's like man, I'm pretty good with this or with the popping cork. I just didn't know how to make that transition, so
Yeah.
I eventually figured it out, right?
Yeah.
After I was, like you said,
Yeah.
catching a bunch of
Yeah.
grass. But
One of the most important things is not giving up.
yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
giving
But
up
that's
on
Yeah.
your
that's just
lure.
anything, man.
It's
Like
just
this.
Yeah.
go out there
Like
and fish it. I mean, you're
yeah.
already out there. You're already
Yeah.
winning. You're already out there. First of all, you're
Yeah.
already
Fish
winning.
are a bonus,
Yeah,
like no matter
yeah,
what.
yeah. You're
Yeah.
already out there, man. That's to
Otherwise,
me.
you're
That's
gonna
the
be
way I see it.
disappointed out there a lot.
Oh yeah,
Like that's how you got to see it. Like
yeah.
any
When I
fish you
skunk out,
catch.
it's empty stringer challenge. Don't matter. I always have an excuse. I
Yeah.
never give up.
Well,
Yeah.
see, like
Always positive.
when I go fishing with my friends, like my friends are all about. I have some buddies of mine, they're really good friends of mine. They don't get to go out fishing very much, but when they do go out fishing, they just, I mean, they love being out on the boat. They love like just being. There's something about being on the water that's relaxing to them, right? And we all have like our stressful lives, and this is a way for them to decompress.
Yeah.
And so for them, like you said, like just being out fishing is a win already. And
Yeah,
they don't care if we're throwing lures. They don't care if we're chunking bait. They're just out there to have a good time, drink some beers or whatever, and just that kind of break away from
yeah.
the
It's just
stress of the world.
exactly just you
Mhm.
out there having a good time, enjoying Mother Nature, enjoying your friends,
Yeah,
having a laugh, and like Monty said, man, and I feel the same way. It's if you catch fish, you want to catch
yeah,
fish. I mean,
yeah,
that's you do want to
Yeah.
catch fish,
That's
right?
that's a goal.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's the goal. But it's not the whole picture is not just, oh, I didn't catch
yeah.
fish, I had a bad time. No, you can
yeah.
still have a great
It's not a
time.
one or a zero, right?
Correct.
It's like you can still win
Yeah.
without catching
Yeah.
fish, right? Like, and
Catching a
so
28-inch trout,
Like
was the highlight
yeah.
of my day recently.
That was a highlight of my day too. Seeing you catch
Yeah,
that fish.
but you caught a
Like
lot of
that
fish
was
though.
awesome.
yeah, but it was
Oh
kind of like
yeah, that was like
if I
the
would have caught
icing.
that day, if I would
Yeah.
have caught that trout, that's all I would have caught that one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still would have been like,
Oh,
"God,
absolutely.
man, like
I
that
mean,
was."
or actually,
Yeah.
we're fixing to get into that situation here, right? It's winter time coming up. The bite will slow down right now. We still have that these pressure changes and like the fish are still on, and or at least my perspective is my experiences is in the wintertime. I catch less fish, but fish I
They're more
catch are
concentrated in the
yeah
wintertime.
yeah
There's less
they're
bait.
there's less bait
Yeah.
you catch, but the fish I catch are quality
Yeah.
fish. So it's just that. But that's a separate, different
Yeah.
conversation for we'll save
Yeah.
for another day. I guess right now we'll kind of touch base
I
back
mean, you
or
can get
touch
as
home.
technical as you want with it. I mean, I'm learning from people that are freaking light years above me too. As far as fishing, I don't even know I hate to say that they're like, better, they're good, or they're
They're
these,
gooder.
Gooder.
yeah,
They're
right.
gooder.
They're more gooder.
Yeah, they're
To
gooder.
me, I'm like, yo, like that guy's on another level,
Yeah.
right? Like I want to learn from that guy. Like I'm still looking for, like that, but that's what it is. Like you're constantly just trying to find people that can help you up your game,
Oh yeah,
and
and
that's the best way to do.
we're so again. We'll touch up. We'll kind of go a little bit further down this route, and then we'll revert back to lures. But up in your game is everything, right? That's why people go from throwing bait to throwing lures,
Lures.
right?
Yeah.
It's a way to kind of level up, if you will.
Yeah.
And like, all right, I've caught a lot of fish, or maybe I haven't caught a lot of fish, right? Whatever with chunking bait now. But I don't want to say it's getting boring, but how do I spice it up? How do I make it more
You get a bait
interesting?
caster.
Yeah, you get a bait caster, right? Yeah, well,
that's, what,
Yeah.
that's what I did, and I was just like, "What did I do?
So-
What did I do?"
so
What
some
is life?
Yeah, oh
so at
my
some point, like
God.
life is like it's about this like that continual journey, right, of becoming
Yeah,
a better angler, and whatever that is for you at your respective age or where you're at. It could be throwing a bait caster, it could be throwing lures, it could be learning how to fly fish, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like there's always ways to continue that journey. And that's really what we really want to promote is we understand that like I've got people and friends that like are you, Monty, that have been fishing for a long time, have a lot of experience, but are still looking to kind of what's the
yeah,
next thing I can do? How can I become better, at a better angler? And I've got people that just like, hey, like later, I've got some of my friends who had never been fishing before until they met me, and I took them out, and now they have all this gear, and they're really into it. It's just
yeah.
and it's not
You
because
can see that progression too.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
it's not because they've never like it's not because they hated fishing. They were just never exposed to it, right?
yeah,
They just they grew up in the city, they grew up wherever, and their parents didn't do that, and we were fortunate enough, and I thank my dad a lot, and my uncles and my grandpa for like they're the ones who took us out
Yeah.
fishing, and at the time, like that's what fishing was. Is it was about building those relationships with your family and friends, and it still is. At least to me, it is.
That's where
And
my passion came from. My dad. He's the one that took me out there and talked to me about fishing and
yeah,
what it was about, and I just enjoyed it. And from
yeah.
since I went with him, it's been what I love to do. It's a passion.
Yeah,
It's an addiction.
there's
It's an
there's
addiction.
addiction, right?
yeah,
I appreciate you using that word here,
It's an
addiction. It is
addiction. It's a
it is
7 day
it's a seven
addiction.
day addiction.
Yeah,
So
because even if you're not, even if we're not out there, like I was wishing I was fishing, man.
I was wishing I was fishing. Yeah,
Yeah,
Johnny Cash said that one time.
that's
So,
right there.
yeah,
but so all right. So let's touch home. Okay, right. So we go to the store. We're buying at least 4 bags. We don't probably want to. You don't want to come out with 10 bags, right?
All right.
So I
Especially if
think
you're
four we
married.
said,
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Just
especially
like,
married.
Especially if you're married, you go out with 10 bags, you ain't going
oh
fishing,
shit,
man.
man.
You ain't going fishing. You're going to return that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was just trying to like
Yep.
dumb that down to like the freaking simplest, smallest, just most basic. Like you go out there with 4 colors that gets all your bases covered. Obviously, there's we have 19 different colors. My company right now, so you know not that you need all of those, but I can honestly say that I throw 17 of those, on a consistent basis, and that's because we've got a couple that are just super
Yep.
close to each other, and um, now the only difference is like maybe one glows and one doesn't,
Yep.
and that's the only reason that. But
You
that's
know,
just
one thing that I've when I was first starting throwing lures, I never learned about jig heads, and I really to this day, I
Mhm.
mean, I hardly use weedless. As a matter of fact, I started using weedless when I started fishing with you all,
Mhm.
and that's another thing that a lot of people when
Oh,
they're starting is kind of like, what jig head do I get?
yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
would get
and that
when I went away from the popping cord. And I was fishing shallow areas. I come out with I think I thought I
More
hooked every
grass.
single cast, and it was just grass. I was like,
Yeah.
man, if I can sell this grass, I make $1 million a day, man.
Seaweed salads, man.
And nobody,
Yeah, right.
I never reached
Start
out. I
rolling
never
it up.
reached out, or
Right.
nobody reached out to me as
So,
well
so,
to
so
say, Vic,
I do want to talk
change it.
about jig heads here. But before we make that transition here, so we talked about colors. We kind of mentioned a gulp a little bit, but even okay. So now you say you're going to choose four colors, right? Whatever. So, but you have paddle tails, you have curl
Yeah,
tails, you have swim baits.
I
I
won't worry
mean,
about any of that.
none of that. You just kind of
I'm
just
not
choose the
saying it doesn't
colors, yeah,
matter, but
to get started at
at the end
least.
of the day, like if you're in fish and you could take any lure you want and you could cut the tail off and just throw the body. And if they're feeding and eating, I mean,
Yeah, take
like,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
But
you can catch them on it.
to help out the new guy who's doing it, if you do have the force colors, get yourself a
Yeah,
curly tail, get yourself a paddle tail.
yeah,
So get yourself a different toe action and try them out. When you're out there, throw them.
But if you were
If
so again,
I'm just,
without
I'm,
making a plug, right? Like if you're going to go out there and buy four lures at your store, I mean, what are the
yeah,
four lures? What are the four bags you come out with? If you're first starting, if you're just getting into it right now.
if I would for sure get gulp,
Okay.
and I would get white with the chartreuse tail, and of
Okay.
course gulp. They do have. I would probably say a paddle tail would be what I would go.
A gulp paddle tail.
A
Okay.
gulp paddle tail is what I started off with.
yeah,
Okay. Well, I started off with a gulp shrimp, like the 3.5 inch shrimp. That's kind of where I started
I
off
couldn't
with.
afford that.
Yeah, they're probably, but you find them on sale, okay? But
yeah. On freaking
but
Facebook for $2 a bag.
Where?
Off the truck, bro.
we'll buy it up right now, right? So,
Freaking-
but all right. So gulp is definitely one way to go, right? So you come in there, you buy your four bags of gulp in each color, and then that should be good, right? You'd be
Yeah.
fine. So
Just be careful with the gulp because don't get let that bag
Yeah,
open because
yeah,
they'll dry
that's
out.
that's the other thing too, right?
Yeah,
So
they'll
you
dry
go
out.
out there, and so you have bags, and then maybe we can kind of make that transition now. So what Monty said here was that colors are important, but it's more about the
sometimes.
categorization of colors. And
Yeah,
so even though you may be 30 different colors by name, they're really you can group them into three or four classes, right? A
yeah,
dark, a light, a natural, and
right.
a bright. And
Yeah,
sometimes there is some overlap between
Yeah.
those, right? And the other thing, the other key point that I got was that it doesn't really matter in the specific, if you will, action that they call, right?
yeah,
So swim baits and paddle tails, whatever. It's more of just kind of getting those variants in colors.
yeah. And I'm not saying that like having the tail action it definitely matters. Like it definitely helps. But I'm trying to answer these questions and give my point of view from like someone that is like you said,
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
walking
You're right.
into a
You're right. Yep.
tackle
When we
Yep.
shop
started,
for the
Yeah.
first
Just
time. They've
absolutely. Yep.
never done it.
Yep.
Like this is bare minimum basic. Like start with this and build on it.
Yep.
So get your four colors. You want a big variety, right? You always want a variety. Like if you're throwing like a white and silver and you're not catching fish on it and you switch to just an all white, like you probably stuff's probably not going to change. The fish aren't going to be like, oh, there's no silver. Okay, I'm going to eat that white one now. Like if you're throwing a white and silver and you're not catching fish and you feel like there's fish there, they just don't like it. Change to something different. Put
All right.
on a darker
So
color.
I'm going to touch on that right now. So, but before we go down there, I just want to give a shout out to Jacob. He's
Oh
out there
yeah, of
tuning in. He
course he's
put a
on
comment
there.
out
oh
there.
Jacob,
Jacob,
Freaking
what's up, buddy?
yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you in
Thanks
the
for
morning, bro.
checking out. You going fishing with him, or you?
Yeah, it's fucking yo, you'll be at my house at 5 o'clock.
bro, he said he ain't gonna go, bro.
I've seen him have. Never mind. He hasn't been drinking. He's been
No,
drinking this
no, bro.
water.
Sick.
He said
He's
he's
He
trying
gonna
to
said
get
he's
get.
me.
taking dope.
He's taking the boat. So, but all right. So you go out there, and this is kind of the biggest thing I struggle with too. Is right. So I've caught a few fish on lures, and but what I struggle with is kind of.
Go to bed, bro. We gotta get there early.
You
Bro,
got to
I'm
go to
trying. I
bed
just have
too,
to
bro.
sleep.
You're watching us. Yeah, so Monty's gonna sleep right here. I've actually
Sleep on
there's an
camera.
air mattress right here. He's gonna sleep in the studio, but
What's up, Pettis
There
brothers?
ain't room
What's
for an
up,
air
guys?
mattress in there. Come on.
oh man, we got we got some guys out there watching us. Oh, what's up?
People are waking
Oh,
up.
we got Roy out there, so we're definitely
Gotta
watching
have a
out there.
Roy.
But you go out there, you're trying your colors, and like, at what point do you say, I'm done with this dark one. I'm trying to into the white. And so, how often are you switching colors?
I used to do. I used to have
Every cast,
no. I used to have a 50 cast.
50
That was
casts.
where I started. Was I would take 50 casts if I
You
didn't
would
catch
count
anything.
50 casts
Yes, and if I
down.
didn't catch anything, I changed lures.
Can
That's the
you?
way I started.
I
I
didn't know
mean,
you could count to 50, bro.
Yeah,
well, I got to
he
like
counted to 10 5 times.
well, I didn't get to 50 because I would catch fish. And I got to like three.
Oh, okay.
Right? No, but that's the way I did it. Like I'm talking about my experience. You know,
Yeah.
I would do that. I would do
Yep.
50 casts, and the crazy thing is, so I would be in the water, and I would give myself. I said this from here to here. I want to cast. I'm gonna flare my cast out, and I'm gonna work that area.
Oh, so we're talking about this. Good
Yeah.
point you brought this up. So you have one color you're choosing with. We're talking about how many times you cast it out, but let's talk about techniques about just like flaring it out and kind of working that.
So if you're dropping me, like if you blindfolded me, spun me around 100 times, and then just dropped me into some salt water somewhere, and I didn't know anything else other than like figured out, right? I had my four colors, right? I had my white, my dark, my natural, my bright, and then you talk about jig heads and stuff, and that's going to start getting into like retrieval. That's the other aspect that if you're talking about making the jump from bait to lures, that I see a lot of people, and whether it's making that jump or just starting with lures at all, is figuring out the cadence and the retrieval.
All right.
Um,
So I keep doing this, and I hate to do this. I'm still because as you guys are saying things that I think are
he's gonna have a
important.
script next time.
Yeah.
and
Now,
he's
no,
gonna
no,
have
no. I know
questions.
this is
Yeah,
actually really plum chartreuse is the right colors to use. Actually, my
yeah.
cousin
See, that's
got
not
a
a
rod
bad
from
one.
us today.
Yeah,
Yeah. But so okay, so I'm gonna take a step
that
back.
would be a
Sorry, I
dark and a
probably so
bright
so you're
combined.
going to Academy or your Walmart or whatever you buy your lures at. So you're coming out with 4 bags of lures. Let's talk jig heads really quick. So just someone who wants to get into lures, like so you go in, you buy 4 bags of um lures. What else do you need?
If you're talking jig
Jig heads.
heads, just like if you're fishing in the saltwater like we do here, the shallow bays and stuff around the Gulf Coast, and you're throwing artificials, 99% of the time, all you need is a 16th and an eighth.
16th and an eighth.
Um,
How
maybe not
deep? How
99% of the
deep does
time,
that
but
cover you?
add a quarter in there too, and
At
it's
a quarter.
99% of the
Okay,
time.
so three bags, 4 bags of lures, 3 bags of jig heads,
Yeah.
an eighth, a 16th, and a fourth.
The difference
Quarter.
between an eighth and a 16th isn't huge. I
It's
prefer
a
a six.
16th.
Yeah, like I prefer a 16th just because that fits my cadence. I
At,
figured that out.
just at any
You know,
depth or
my partner Albert likes to throw an eighth. Just and this is just like we're usually fishing knee to thigh deep, right? We're in a foot to 3 foot of water, so we don't really need a heavy jig head to get down.
right.
If I'm in like waist plus and I'm trying to get it on the bottom, I'm gonna want to throw a quarter. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to work it super slow to keep it down there.
Yep.
So that have a lighter, say 16th, or I even throw a 32nd usually with the jig heads. Um, it's going to sink a lot slower, obviously. So you're going to have to let that get down there. And if you work it too fast, it's going to get up in the water column. And if
Yep.
they're going to keep it on the bottom, say you're flounder fishing or it's winter and it's cold and they're sitting in a freaking muddy gut or something and they're not coming up more than 6 inches off the bottom because they don't want to freeze to death. It's I'm gonna throw a quarter, right? Um,
All right. So my first
and
objective is to
and
try to get someone out of the door, right? So they
yeah,
walk into the door, all right, they walk in blindly. So now they know they need 4 bags of lures, they need 3 bags of jig heads. What about leader line?
eh, this goes back and forth. There's a lot of people that swear up and down that you don't need a leader, that they've fished their entire life just tying a braid to the leader. I mean, to the lure straight. They don't lose fish and this and that. And yeah, like I believe 'em, right? Like, okay, that guy, yeah, maybe he's never lost a fish and he's been catching them on braid and this and that. But I've broken off with a 30-pound mono leader. Like, I want to land that fish. I fish with a leader.
so
I'm
so the,
comfortable with the
so the
leader.
leader really helps on the hook set.
I believe you need a leader.
Yep.
100%. Not the hook set.
You don't need a hook set. Like that's really, I
You
mean,
need the
that's where
hook set,
that
You got
kind
a
of
but
little
where
stretch on it.
that stretch, that elasticity on
that
that.
that leader though, like it's mainly you hook an 11-pound red and he swallows your lure.
Okay, so it's in
That
there.
line is completely all it's doing is getting just ripped across his mouth left and right throughout that entire fight. They got teeth, they got gill plates. I mean, like they're
Okay,
not soft, cuddly creatures.
yeah, they're not.
So
They
there is
bite, bro. They
Teddy
bite.
bears.
there is stuff on there that's gonna rough it up,
Yeah, okay.
and like me personally, I just throw a 30-pound monoliter,
Okay,
and
30
that's
pound
just what
mono.
I use. I don't use 15 here and 20 there. I use 30 across the board. That's
So
fine.
what line of a braid are you using?
I use Finn's 40G 15-pound.
Okay.
That's the best I found for myself.
I use a 20 pound.
15, 20 pound
I
braid
use a
line is
twenty
kind of
pound.
what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
I do
Albert
also
Not
uses
use a
10,
30.
you know, it's all kind of preference, you
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Might be okay, so 10 between 10 and 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to me personally. I like 20. I always fish with 20. Um,
Yeah.
and I go to it because of that confidence point.
Yep.
Believe it or not, Albert uses 10 and he's confident with it.
Absolutely,
You know,
right? It's just
I think that if I were to wear a 10, in back of my mind, I'd be like, oh, shoot, like I have a 10. I gotta,
Yeah.
and I like to use my drag pretty tight.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Going to a leader, I do use a 30-pound leader. I think if you're just starting, I don't think you need to worry about, do I need a leader or do I not need a leader? Like, get go out there, throw those lures out there, work them.
Okay. Hey, you're
Learn
going
how.
to bites, right? So if you
Yeah,
start losing fish because you don't have a leader, then you kind of
yeah.
adjust
I
accordingly,
didn't use
right?
a
And
leader.
so the leader is not going to affect your presentation of your lure as you're working
No,
it. Good.
the leader is just there to protect against the fish.
Okay. All
That's
right.
it.
Good. So no, I think it's good.
Because
So
like
Another
my
thing that helps out with
15-pound
the
braid.
leader is
Yeah.
when you already caught the
Oh
fish
yeah.
and you're grabbing, instead of grabbing the braided line, grab the
no,
leader.
it's
Because
easier to
then you're
grab.
out, you
Yeah.
get cut, man.
Yeah.
So all right. So
That's
at
how
a
this
minimum,
happened. That's how this
that's
happened.
how those fingers happen.
Oh,
Where's
I
that
cut
womp
my
womp
finger.
Oh yeah.
button?
All right. So at a minimum, all right. So we 4 bags of lures and 3 different packs of jig heads is really all you need to get started.
Yeah.
That okay.
And as
So,
far as the weedless versus jig head thing goes, throw a jig head unless you're forced to throw weedless
okay.
because you're gonna hook up way like your hookup ratio with a jig head is gonna be way higher than with
Okay.
Yeah,
weedless.
that's
You
true.
No, that's
know,
a good point.
That's true.
So just all right.
like if I could just throw a jig head all the time, I would. But there's some times where we're fishing and there's just so much grass that like you can't fish a jig head. You
Yeah.
have to have a weedless. You have to be able to pull it through there. And even then, I'm still catching. You know, grass is still clumping around the whole lure. It's grabbing onto the leader knot. You know, I mean, it happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Certain,
yeah.
not all the time though. I mean, I'd say about 80% of the time when I'm out there, I'm just throwing a regular jig head. Um, and your jig head changes up the action on it too on the front. So you get the weedless is going to keep it a little bit steadier in the water. It's going to have a little bit kind of like a gliding scene. It's on the front on a weedless, like gliding motion, and it's not going to just dart down real quick. Um, but that's all just stuff you got to figure out when you're fishing, you know, and figuring out how which ones you have the most success with in your areas
Yep.
and how you're fishing.
Yeah.
This is all like I said before we started, man. There's no like hard answers for stuff.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
like everyone's looking like if you're looking for hard answers in fishing, like you're not gonna get them. You know, there's no end all be all. There's no set in stone. This is happens and
What
that
if you call
happens.
Jeremy
You
Wade?
know, I mean,
You're right.
Call Jeremy Wade
I
and
don't know.
ask him.
what you
The guy from
talking
the
about? Hit the
Monsters.
crickets, bro.
I think that was
Okay.
better. I've been waiting to
I'm
use
pretty
that
sure
one
somebody
too.
knows. The guy from River
No, we know
Monsters.
who he is, but like, why, like,
Maybe because he knows it
where
all,
where
bro.
you think he knows it all?
I know he
No.
knows it all because I taught him.
Oh.
Now you can hit the button.
Yeah.
Hey, you go, Sam. Good job.
All right, so definitely
Yeah.
we're trying to get some use out of these buttons
So
here.
four
So
four bags of lures, some jig heads, and I would say come out with a popping cork.
all right, a
Yeah,
popping cork
yeah,
too. All right,
yeah.
so,
Popping cord, there's nothing wrong with that, man. That's a great way for people to catch fish.
Well, my cousin Rogelio, I know he was watching right now. That's how he got into it too. I mean, he
Yeah,
was with me too when I was kind of starting that too, and we were just and he's a popping cork popping
yeah.
machine, man.
They work, man.
Like he just freaking like we go out to areas and he'll just wade the hoe, like especially up toward Gladys Hoe and the Land Cup, like up that area. Like we'll walk some of the deeper parts up there away from the shoreline a little bit. He'll just hook up on trout after
Yeah,
trout after trout. So he's just it's very I just have a lot of confidence in the
Yeah.
popping cork just because I've got a lot of
yeah.
fish on it. But yeah, so all right. So now you come
Proven
out of
system.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely right. And not to say that anything else doesn't work. It's just that's what my
Yeah, no,
yeah.
experience has been, right? And so my
There are
perspective is
instances though where that cork's gonna scram away.
yeah.
There are instances like it's not all the
On windy
time.
days or
No, no. I'm talking like freaking pressure's over 30. There's no wind. Everything still
okay.
like you want a super subtle, natural light present. Like you want a see-through bait pretty much, and you want to work it slow.
Yeah.
You know,
Summertime.
yeah, like dog days of August, still dead. you're fishing in a bathtub. The fish aren't, they're cold blooded. They're not producing their own body heat, right? I mean, they got a little bit, but they're sitting in this water. They're dependent on the temperature of the water. So, you're in 100-degree water, you're in 95-degree water. Like, you're not going to want to do a whole lot
Yeah.
either. You go
Yeah.
outside and it's 95 degrees.
You go
Like,
back inside.
yeah,
You're,
freaking,
Like the hell with that.
you're gonna want to wait, right? It's
yeah,
so hot. So.
we're in 10%, 50% humidity. They're in the water,
Yeah.
right? There's no escaping that. There's no swim fast and kind of cool off. No, but
So very,
so like
very.
if you're throwing that popping cork and they're real skittish, or even if it's just like real clear water, or like you're saying real shallow water, like you don't want to throw a popping cork shallow
Right.
water. You can,
I've done it.
you can
I
put
haven't
it.
caught any fish on it, but
Yeah,
I
I
did
mean,
it
you
'cause
can.
I thought I could.
It just got popular down here. That the 212 rig, right?
Yeah.
It's the freaking top water with the lure behind it, right? So that
It works.
It works. Yeah, no,
You
it
can
works.
fish. Yeah, they definitely does. It's not knocking
Shout out to Smiley. Go ahead, check out the
Just a
212.
plug.
Yeah. So Jacob says that's the way he started too with popping cork. So it seems like a
Yeah.
lot of people have started that way.
Yeah.
So it seems like really the consensus is that if you're
It's
if
a
you
good
never,
way to get the cadence down.
it's a good way to kind of
Yeah.
start working that and getting into it. So so
'Cause when
definitely
you're out there throwing the lure, man, you gotta visualize like where it is in the water column,
on the water column.
because it's like some days they're hitting on the bottom part, some days they're in the top part. Some days you got to keep it. uh, It usually doesn't matter, but when it does, like you want to be able to figure it out. And that kind of ties back to like if you just drop me, I was completely in the dark. Like there's no landmarks. I'm just in the salt water. I don't know where I am, what to do. I'm gonna start off with the white. It doesn't really even matter what you start off with. Just pick one of your colors, put it on, and like me, I'm gonna start off working it super slow.
Slow, like on the
And
bottom.
yeah, like
So what like
not
so
even
so
like on the bottom. Like I can work it slow in the top of the
well
water
well what does
column
slow
too.
mean? Like so slow is like a 16th or an eighth or so we were walking out with
Yeah, like
three
like I'm gonna
jig
put
heads.
I'm gonna put a lighter jig head on. I'm gonna throw it out there, and I'm gonna count. I'm gonna throw a 16. Just
Okay, so
I'm
you
gonna.
start off with
I
a
know I'm gonna
16th
throw a
and
16th
okay,
because I know like
okay.
that's just what I'm gonna start with.
Yep.
If you want to start with an eighth, Dan Getta, that guy throws an eighth all the time. That's what he likes to throw. That's what works for him. That's yeah, that's right for him.
Yep.
Albert likes throwing an eighth.
I throw an eighth.
Yeah, you like an eighth quarter.
I throw whatever
Um,
Victor has because I don't buy him. He just
Yeah.
take whatever Victor has on his boat.
And most of the time, I gotta tell
no wonder I gotta give this guy so much
Victor's
crap,
got to tie my
man.
knots
Damn.
too because I lose
Freaking every
fish.
time he shows up, he's getting jig heads from me and shit.
So I get it from you.
I
But
gotta-
he gets it from
yeah.
Victor. To fish, I kept breaking all my knots until
Yeah.
Victor tied my knot, and then it was
He said it was and Alliance old. I said, no, bro, you're old.
I can't see that.
Just come back. You had just come back. So
Yeah, we
you-
just
you
come
were
back. So
kinda-
my fishing game, I don't do very much fishing in China, that's for sure. So,
Gotta have
but
something.
actually, I've gone out there and I've seen people fly fishing up in the rivers, and it's actually pretty cool. And like I can't talk to them because they don't speak English, but I've seen people out there fishing. I take selfies with them and just really like just,
You don't talk to him.
Just
Just take
go up to
selfies
random
with
fuckers
him.
like-
well, they're like, oh, like they don't know what's going
Like,
on.
no way.
but- so yeah, but anyway, so we start off with you start off with a 16th. You can start off with an eighth, whatever you
Yeah,
whatever you're.
like just your
Okay.
jig head, put it on. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like whatever
Go out
the
there.
jig head is, whatever. But like I'm gonna start off working it slow, right? Because I'm like, okay, worst case, these fish are super lethargic and they don't want to come off the bottom or they don't want to come up and chase anything. So I'm gonna put my lure down there where it's gonna, be in their strike zone, if that's the case. Now, if I find that I'm catching fish and maybe they're wanting it a little quicker,
So how do you what is like working it slow mean for someone that doesn't know
True.
how to?
all right, like I'm gonna be throwing it like I'm speaking from a wade fisherman's perspective. So I'm
Okay.
standing in the water, I'm not drifting, I'm standing still, I'm able to do this. I'm casting out and I'm just pulling the rod sideways. I'm not popping it up and working it quick. I'm not pulling it off the bottom. I'm not reeling really fast. I'm letting it sink down until I feel the lure hit the bottom. And then I'm pulling the rod to the side. I'm just a slow sweep to the side, and that lure is just going to kind of barely come off the bottom. And I'm trying to pull it more forward than I am up.
Okay.
So I kind of just want to have it like just because I know this is how I'm going to throw it.
Sure.
Right. It's hard.
It's
for me
part
to
of
speak as a
visualizing it,
complete-
right?
Yeah.
Like,
So
it's
I'm like, I'm going to put on like a toxic root beer color, and I pretty much just want like a little shrimp, a little crustacean, some tiny little easy to eat meal that's just crawling along the bottom, not just completely oblivious to everything. I'm just trying to put something there that the fish like can't not eat, can't say no to, right? Like no matter how tired it is, how lethargic and whatever, it's like you put that there and it's just barely moving. It's like damn, it can't resist it, right? Like I'm force feeding it. It's kind of like what I like to imagine. Um, and from there, I'd rather work it fast, like I don't like sitting there and just barely, it's no fun, right?
Uh,
I'd like to move around, do stuff. And so I'll kind of speed it up from there. But that's just how I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start off slow. And like Victor was saying, man, he made a great point, and it's helped you a lot. Just the fact that you do that when you go out is you hop off and you fan cast. A lot of people, I'll see them, they freaking just cast in the same spot, the same line over and over. And it's like, okay, I can fish a freaking 1 foot column straight in front of me with each cast. So it's like if I put 20 of those columns out, now I've covered this whole area.
but that slows you down, right? It slows your way
Yeah.
down. It's like, I mean, that's
Yeah,
like
this is speaking from like a wade fisherman's
right.
perspective. On the boat, obviously you're drifting, it's a little different.
Yep.
The boat's moving, you're keeping the reel up and keep up with um that's kind of where the pop and cork, why that's such a great tool for a lot of beginners too, is because it holds your lure in that spot.
Yep.
Your lure's not falling down to the bottom. You're not losing contact. You can see the cork. You can really keep up with it. You pop the cork, and obviously you can get that.
One of
Yeah,
the
yeah. You
reasons,
get the visual cue on it
yeah,
too. You don't have to rely on like feeling, right?
yeah,
Because
because you're learning.
yeah, you don't know what
You're
grass
learning.
feels like. You don't know what a piggy perch feels like. You don't know, all that stuff you're gonna
I
experience
still
and
don't
you're
know
gonna
what grass feels
learn.
like
Yeah,
sometimes. I'm like,
dude,
man,
I
this is
set
good
the
one.
hook.
You're setting the hook on
They
that.
set the hook.
Bro, I
Rip.
set the hook
GoPro,
in
turn
grass
on.
all the
GoPro, turn
time.
on. GoPro, turn
Yeah,
off. GoPro, turn
like
off.
GoPro delete.
Yeah, we delete GoPro.
yeah. Like unless I'm like positive I'm in the grass or something, like I feel something weird and I set the hook. And I mean, I use that line because I broke off with so many others
Yeah.
because I have KBD syndrome. Bad. Like
What's KVD syndrome?
it's like I feel a bite and I cross their
Uh,
eyes.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just a little pull the rod
It's
back and
like you're
tighten
you're
up.
setting
Nah,
the
I'm
hook.
like, all right. It's just like I don't think about it. I just do it.
Yeah.
It's a reaction. And I'll be the first to admit it, but I freaking set the hook in the grass all the time. I set the hook in the piggy perch all the
Right,
time.
'cause
I
sometimes you have it's
freaking
sometimes
needle
it's a
guard,
soft
whatever.
bite, right? Like, I
Yeah,
mean, you don't know, right? Like, it's just
yeah. I'd rather freaking set the hook in the grass 90 times and then, on the 91st, it's a freaking 8 pound trout,
yeah,
that this guy didn't because he didn't want to look like an idiot setting the hook in the grass.
yeah, no,
Whatever,
absolutely.
when I started using the lures, I was doing a lot of wading, and that's before I had the kayaks, and now I bought a little boat, and that's why I
A
would
shallow
fan out.
sport, a shallow
Uh,
sport. All right.
and so I would fan out. So I would, I'd go in the water. I go to KOA a lot, KOA at the island or by the convention center or by the Coast Guard area. That's where I started when I started fishing, and I would fan out, and that's what I would do. I would pick, in areas in white. You know, if I would catch a fish, I start over.
Okay.
I start over my count. Once I hit the 50 count and I didn't catch anything, I would change it,
Yeah.
and that's the way I did it.
Every
And for
fish
me,
got you another 50
yeah,
casts.
every fish. Yes, exactly.
Every
Damn,
keeper
bro.
or every
Every
like
fish.
He's like,
So
48,
I wasn't picky.
49.
Damn it. 47 and a half. I wasn't picky. Whatever fish was gonna was it if it was a keychain trout, which we caught now, you catch a little trout.
sure.
I was learning. I
Yeah.
was excited about catching the fish. Even to this day, I don't care if it's a little trout or a 28-inch trout. Like, I get excited, but yeah, you get excited with the bigger ones. But
Yeah.
just having that, feeling that thump, feeling that fish hit that lure, it's excitement.
Yep.
You never know. That's the beauty for me about fishing
Yeah.
is you never know.
No 2 days are ever the same.
Yeah.
Like,
You never know. It could be a 20. It could be a 16-inch trout.
Well, a lot of my 2 days are the same. We skunk out a lot.
We
Me
skunk
my
out.
buddies,
it
but we
happens
drink a
at
lot of
mine, bro.
beer. So I guess
Yeah.
like one day I'll drink 7 beers, and the next day I'll drink 9 beers. I
Yeah,
guess
you're
they're
never the
different in
same.
that.
Never
Not
the
the same.
same.
Yeah.
You
It's
see
all
everything.
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends
Yeah.
on how you look at it, right?
Exactly.
All right. So we talked about. So Victor uses the 50 cast method. How about you?
As far
what's
as
your
switching
method for switching
colors,
colors? And
well,
When you started,
when I first started,
yes.
well,
Because
no,
remember,
like I guess what
it
you're
was
doing
like
now. I mean, are you trying to
Go
help
ahead,
people figure
Siri,
out?
put a timer for 10 minutes. That's what he does. I'm not lie.
No, let's see what
It's
he.
like, oh, we're giving it 20 minutes here.
One time he's like,
and-
Siri, put a timer for 27 minutes, and I was like, 27.
27
Well,
minutes
yeah,
and
bro,
15
like-
well, bro, it
seconds.
was like, you know,
Because he said it's 25 for fish and 3 to get back to the boat. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, man.
like that's the 30,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I was like, it's called powerful, bro. Come here, boat.
So,
But,
so you're fishing for, if you're fishing an area for 27
Yeah.
or 20, 30 minutes.
I
you're
don't do
going
that all
same-
the time. It's mainly like
But it's the same color
Yeah.
this
Eh.
entire time.
when I first started, like I used to switch. Like if I didn't catch a fish in like 10 casts, I put a new color on.
Right.
Right. I was giving color too much value, right? And I wasn't like you need to pay more attention to like, are you in fish or are you not? You have those 4 colors, and if you're in fish, and if you throw them and they don't hit them,
So
they're just not
other
biting,
than
you
like
know, like
getting bites, is there anything else you use to determine whether you're in fish or you're coming up on
that's
fish?
really all you can use it unless
Just
you're
bites.
seeing them.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you're like, damn, like every time we turn the boat on, 20 reds jump out of the grass and take off, you know, okay, you're obviously in the fish and they're just not feeding. They're sitting down, they're for whatever reason. The conditions dictated that. And some days are just like that. I mean, some days you can't force feed them. Some days you could freaking pick that fish up and stick it in their lips and they wouldn't, you know, it doesn't matter. They're not
I've seen
eating.
people catch fish on
Out of the water. That's it. You know,
Whatever
they're
it is.
competitively feeding. They're aggressively, actively feeding. And that's another thing too that I think a lot of people don't realize is like 90% of the fish you're catching aren't actively feeding. Yeah, obviously that number can skew either way. You
Sure.
can fight me on it. You know, those days that
Can
they
you fact
are.
check that? 90%?
Fact
Yeah,
check
right.
that.
Check that,
Freaking-
please.
Freaking that.
Yeah,
It's 89, bro.
87 and a half.
yeah,
You lost all credibility.
yeah. Gone. Get this guy out of here. But yeah, it's kind of like
You're going to have to shave.
you lost the right to have a beard.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, you think about those days, like those specific days that stick out in your head that were just stupid. You know, where it's just every cast that's active, aggressive, competitively feeding fish. You know, you're in the middle of them. They're eating like crazy. You're not like just coming across fish, and they're not just opportunistically eating your lure. That's what's usually happening. Is you're putting that in front of that fish, and it's like, okay, like why not? You
Put it
know?
out there. You kind of get that
Uh,
reaction strike out
Yeah,
of
But
them.
when
and
they're
then-
there-
or it's like, oh shit, and they eat it, you know. But it's not like they're
They're
huddled up
hunting,
in an
they're like-
area, swimming around, smashing a bunch of shrimp. Or
Yeah, I mean, but when that happens, you see the bait kind of
Yeah.
popping around, and you see the birds working.
You can
and
tell
they're-
when
right?
you're in it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes it's. I mean, I've had it. We don't catch fish all day. It's slick, calm, high pressure. There's no water moving. It's bluebird skies. It's super crystal clear water. And this is getting pretty technical with it. You know, there's all kinds of moon phases and tides and all that kind of stuff that you can get into, or that you will get into once you get later on into it and you start trying to get to that level, if you will.
I've never
Um,
checked that. I've never checked.
Well, I mean, it's
you
hard,
should
right?
start.
It's hard.
interesting.
I mean,
I
so-
checked that.
Like
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
No, I mean it's hard, especially like for me and like my buddies, right? Like us, like hey, like we had to plan our fishing trips
Yeah.
weeks in advance, right? And so it's not like I can like they can just say, hey, we're going
Yeah.
fishing tomorrow, or like whatever.
yeah.
Like we have to say like, hey, we're going fishing like 2 weeks from now. Can
Yeah.
everybody make it, right? Whatever,
So that's the thing with a lot of people too, right? Is it's like
Saturday
I
or
don't
Sunday,
care if
right?
fucking Tuesday is like
Yep.
the day. I can go Saturday. I'm going Saturday.
How
Like,
we got
okay,
Edgar checking in. What's up, guys? Fabian, what's up from
nice.
seven
Yeah,
seven
we're up to
days?
what,
So
like 9 people. Nice.
yep. So
we're
we've
gonna
got-
remember this.
this is definitely the first one. So,
Yeah.
but
We shit. Where were we?
you were talking about going out there.
Yeah,
and
like
90%.
okay,
You said
go
90%.
go when you can go. Right?
87.
Yeah, like go when you can go, but like record something about today. I don't care what it is, right? Like if you're just starting off, I'm not gonna say you gotta look up the moon phases and the tides and the freaking all the solar
horoscope
stuff
and
and
all that stuff.
yeah, I mean, it
The
just
stock.
You don't check the horoscope?
but
I do.
keep
I
a
look at the
record,
Dow.
right? Like yo, I was
The Dow.
yeah.
Can I go fishing? Damn, I'm broke today. Can't go fishing today.
The Dow's down 4 points. Nope.
Sorry, guys,
Yeah.
can't make it.
Can't make it.
We're never getting anywhere with this thing, bro.
No. So you're talking about dog.
Focus, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
Focus.
good job. All right, that was kind of
Yes.
our rebaselining. All right, so we reset. All
Snap
right,
back into
snap
it.
back in. So,
That's why you need a script,
so
bro.
you're documenting kind of something about the day, but like what? Like what are things that you
Like at
document
the
that are?
bare minimum,
Yeah.
I was right here when I caught these fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like mark the spot. Like
Yeah.
that should
Okay.
go
Fair
without
enough.
Take a
saying, right?
picture.
Like
Yeah.
Take a picture.
like
And
yeah,
now with
and
the
go back
phones.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And go
Like
back there.
so like a lot of it for me sometimes is like, yo, I've caught a shitload of fish in this spot before. It's like figuring out when they're there. Sometimes it's a time of the year, sometimes it's a, you know, when the tide's doing this and the wind's doing that. And it's like, but you gotta catch fish in an area.
Okay.
And what I would really tell people is especially down here is there's a lot of times that you just get into them out on the open flats and they're just following the bait around, or for whatever reason they're in that area that day. There's nothing really there that's holding them. You know, now if you can identify something there that's holding them, like there's a mud patch, there's a drop off, there's a gut, there's a grass line, there's, you know, something, some kind of structure, some kind of transition, some kind of something there. Even if you don't know what it is, you've just been back there enough times that you know they sit in that area, you
Yep.
know. But I know a lot of people that, you know, will go out and they'll drift 800 yards and they'll catch fish and they'll mark where they started that drift, you know, and it's like
They were in this.
those
They
fish,
were in the
and
back
then
end
there's
of your
nothing really
graph.
there, you know, it's
Yeah.
just sand and it's just grass and sand pockets. And it's that same thing, you know, stretching all the way up and down the coast. Um, so it's like, but if you're fishing and you drift over like an oyster bar or something, you're like, oh, okay, you know, maybe that's why they're holding them, you know, and that's just stuff you got to look out for. But
But
at,
other
at
than
the
like
bare
waiting,
minimum, at
like
the bare minimum, like if you go out and catch fish at a spot, like just try to go back there, not as often as you can, but go check it again, see if you can catch fish there again, um, and try to just look and see if there's something there that is worth trying to figure out when they get around, or if it's just a random kind of out there spot. You know, that clip I showed you, that's just sand. Like that fish was just cruising around. The conditions, the time of year, yada yada, all dictated that they were pushing up real shallow up into the sand.
Yep.
But there's not like a freaking like a gut in
Sure.
the sand that's holding them there, right? So that's kind of what I tell you there to do. And like I said, it's all just building on it. You know, it's getting as technical as you want with it. It's getting as specific as you want with it. It's refining just as far down as you want to go with it. I know a lot of guys that are perfectly content just going out in the boat and turning the motor off and
wherever they're
drifting
at.
for 2 or 3 hours, and whatever they pick up, and then it's, you know, it's back in. You know,
Yeah.
My best
that's
friend
their idea of a
Robbie.
good time, and
My best
that's
friend Robbie has a saying. He says, "Where there's water, there's fish." Every single time we go
Uh,
fishing, he says that. Wherever there's water, there's
yeah.
fish.
Yep. So I
We
guess
don't catch anything when he goes.
if you feed them, they may come.
Yeah.
But all right. So now we learned a little bit about the colors. We learned about kind of how to work techniques,
I would
fanning.
just like start slow and then speed up. And like if you catch fish doing something,
Repeat it.
keep doing it. Yeah.
Repeat it.
Like
Keep it going.
pay attention to what you're doing, like when you're out there, because it's not like um I don't know, like when you start having success with something, you want to be able to,
Yeah.
like he said, like replicate it, right? Do it again, you know. And if you're not paying attention to what you're doing, if you're not being conscious of what you're doing, how you're doing it, like you're not going to be able to repeat that. You know, you're not going to be able to fish follow patterns, you know. Everything follows
We all
patterns. We
follow
follow
patterns. Yeah.
patterns.
Yeah.
We
Animals
wake up
follow
in the morning.
patterns.
Yeah.
Every creature on the whole planet
Yep.
follows patterns. And
Yeah, we
it's
all
like,
follow patterns. I know that if I'm going,
What's the
gonna
first thing
go.
you do when you wake up?
Well,
no,
look. I tell you,
let's not
if
get
I
into
know
that.
if I'm
What's the
going,
last thing?
if I know if I'm going fishing, that means that I gotta watch the dishes. That's my pattern.
Yeah.
Going fishing means watching the dishes.
Yeah, you watch them a lot, bro.
I know. Don't use Clorox.
All right, so we have a few more comments. So we probably have
Does
about
anybody have any
15 more.
questions they want to
Yeah,
ask?
that's what I said.
Like,
We have about.
I'm a lot better. Like, I freaking spew information.
So one thing that I
Like,
picked up
help
here.
me
So,
help
so
you,
first
you
of all,
know.
before we get to that, anyone that has any questions, Adam here below. We got Ace here in the house. So definitely Ace doesn't catch fish unless we're snapper fishing. The last time he caught fish is when we went out with Andy Salinas, one of my buddies. It was at
Nice.
the shallow sport tournament. Actually, he did really well because we were chunking bait, right? So we
Chunking
we
lures, bro.
no, we were checking bait, so we definitely we're throwing ballyhoo. So we anchored up in a position and we all just casted our
course.
lines out and we just Andy had
Yeah.
familiarity, right? He knew where the reds were at and they were
Y'all did
catching.
good
So,
that day,
yeah,
too.
we did actually get
Yeah.
so
So it's
actually
like,
I think
like if
I'm
you were in that
surprised.
spot and you just
we're all
tied on a
drunk.
lure and you were throwing a lure,
well I caught my limit
like-
on reds that day. Like so
Yeah.
like these guys
well,
like,
like the fish were there.
yeah, their fish were there.
Yeah, they were feeding.
Yeah.
You know, they're eating your ballyhoo.
Yep.
If you put a lure in that fish's face,
I got
know.
off like so like the guys were anchored up and they were casting off the front of the boat. And I walked off and I I waited on that and I came back to the boat with 3 reds. Now they weren't tournament size reds. They were like 23, 24,
to be-
25.
Really-
But one of the guys caught, but it was a tournament, right? So one of the guys did catch a 27 and 3/4. He was skinny though. He wasn't fat though. But one of the guys did catch that red.
I
out
call
there
those
just-
CrossFit reds.
yeah,
they're long but skinny.
Yeah, they're long and skinny. How they're
I
not
like I
jacked.
like Mexican reds. They're short and fat. It's like,
They eat a
oh
lot.
yeah.
Well, they're the ones that eat all the bread and
Yeah, once you tell the red, it's like, what size is that red? 24 and weighs in 12 pounds. Yeah, it's
24
diabetic
right
too.
diabetic reds.
It's diabetic.
it's all the stuff that's in the water.
Yeah.
So but all right. So we learned. So definitely, if you guys have questions, add them here below. The one things that I picked up from Monty here is that so lure selection, it's not as complicated as a lot of people may think it is. There's a lot of factors, a lot of variables outside of lure selection. He talked about kind of the tides, the current, the moon phases, the time of day, the time of year. There's a lot of variables and a lot of factors to
Yeah.
it. So and that actually is good because I really would like Monty to come back and later and talk more about these other aspects. And we can talk more about kind of wade fishing and lure fish or fishing off a boat, things that you may change
Yeah.
in your technique.
That
But,
that would be a lot better way, to branch out on this. Because, like I say, man, right now I'm trying to answer these questions like I just freaking opened my eyes to the world.
Yeah.
Like I was born yesterday, right? And okay, this is where you start.
Yep.
And but the main thing is just once you obviously have your lures and your jig heads and your rod and everything rigged up, and we can get into the rod and reel and the right kind of tackle and this and that, and just keep
Start off by
building
going.
on all that crap. But yeah, just go.
Start off by going.
Like if you want to learn, you got to do. Like that's it.
Yep.
Like I can sit here and be like, yo, read this article and read that article, and you can listen to this podcast and you can listen to that podcast and you can sign up for Salt Strong and you can buy this and that, and it's like,
you can stop, but you can buy my ebook.
yeah, and it's like, but dude, like none of those guys fish like you do. Like none of those people are fishing the way you are
And
going to
where
be
you're
fishing.
fishing,
Yeah.
how you're you're
Yeah,
right.
like if you look at the people that are really at the top of the game, they've just been doing it a long time. They figured it out, some solid patterns, and they figured out how to stay on them, and that's it. I mean, I'm learning from guys that are freaking like got it narrowed down to like a 30-minute window at times. Like you got to be here at this time, throwing this, and this time of year they're gonna be like this, and if the water temperature is this, they're gonna And
But they didn't learn that from like listening to people. They learned there
No.
by
No, by
being there,
going out
right, and
like
being out there.
yeah, like one of the guys I wouldn't go as far to call him as mentor yet, but he's helping me
Thanks,
out
bro.
a lot.
Yeah, you can say it, bro.
Right.
Tell me this, bro.
Role model.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
You already told me, he's like, bro, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Got
you told me
Wallow
that?
in the house. Wallow, what's up, Wallow? Wallow's watching us too from
Wallow.
Houston. So, but
So, Wallow.
you were so I don't think he's talking about you, bro. But
I think so. He's in denial, but I
No,
think so.
we are now, bro. Like, okay, yeah, you got me.
You want to ride home or not?
I got mine, bro.
Oh, my bad.
buddy.
so he's going home in a Raptors.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
that's
he's
right.
like, it's
I
screw
just
the
get to
Tundra.
drive it. It's not mine. I haven't sold that many lures yet.
Yeah, but okay. So I think we learned a lot today about just lure selection, and it's not as complicated. We kind of help people that are
Yeah.
interested in kind of getting started, what to look for, what to buy.
Water, bro. We're drinking water. I'm drinking water. Monty's
I'm
drinking
drinking.
water, too.
This is just tequila.
I'm drinking an empty cup. So
Yeah,
there's
Sam
nothing
was
else.
drinking.
No, I was drinking water too. I was trying to stay hydrated. I was
Oh,
actually
yeah,
So
Sam just got
water on
Patron
the rocks, he
over
said.
there.
water on the rocks. Yeah,
Yeah.
water. Oh, yeah. So but no, yeah. So definitely, I think we learned a lot today about the lure
Yeah.
selection. How to get started into it. So actually, right now, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your lures and your company and kind of how you guys came about with that, and like like why you guys wanted to do that. So. I know I touched about it a little bit
Yeah.
briefly, but Monty is actually, so some of you guys can see this AM lures. It's Albert and Montgomery Fishing.
I thought it
Um,
was AM for like literally like the morning. Like no
yeah,
joke.
Well, it's kind of a pun
yeah,
too,
it's a
so
pun.
it's
So I'm
dual
waiting for them to
meaning.
do like
Yeah.
a morning follow pun, but
Hey, that sounds like fun.
but
we
I'm down.
we've been holding off, but
so I'm waiting for them to do something like that,
We're still
something
in the dating
around
stage, bro.
like
yeah,
Tirando
freaking
Palo AM, like
yeah,
something like that. But
yeah,
I'm still waiting for them. I'm not gonna push them. But
yeah.
anyways, but so that's what the M stands for. It is for Monty and or Montgomery, and so yeah, just talk about your lures and kind of
All
what you
right.
guys offer.
I guess I'll just start. Freaking, we've only been around for a year, so I'll start at the beginning. Won't be too long.
All right.
Um, we just started playing around with stuff. Albert already had some basic molds and some little color and some plastics. There was just personal stuff to mess around with, and he kind of played around with it and gotten out of it.
Yes, they are, Jacob.
And
AM lures are awesome, as Jacob says so.
nice, yeah. So are you, Jacob. And yeah, so we just kind of we were playing with it for ourselves, right? We're like, yo, we want to try this color and that color. It'd be cool if we could. We had tried to get some lure companies to to do some like not colors they didn't already do, but like some colors they had and like another model that they had, and like we couldn't get a time of day from them, this and that. I'm not knocking anybody. It's just like, hey, it didn't work out, so we were like, all right, we're doing it ourselves. And so we just started playing around with different stuff and kind of settled on this what the mold that we started off of. This point, it's we've redesigned the entire thing. It's our own bait. It's our own design. It's our own everything. um, but we started throwing this curly tail jerk shad, and it after a couple of months, both of us, Albert and I, had both been like, "Man, I haven't done anything else." Like all of my lures I'd taken out of my tackle box, they were the only ones I was carrying was the ones we were making. And this didn't just happen overnight. We weren't like, "Hey, we're gonna start a lure
But
company. What are we gonna
before like the
do?"
curly tails, did you try paddle tails and
Oh
swim
yeah,
and
man. We had freaking all kinds of stuff,
okay,
man. I mean, we went through probably 8 or 9, not went through, but just were like,
tried?
hey, that looks cool. Let's order that one,
Yeah.
and oh, that sucks. Or okay, yeah, we like it, or yeah. And but that curly tail jig shad, man, it just worked for us. And after 3 or 4 months, we were posting pictures, obviously on Fishaholics, and we're already fishing. Like we're fishing no matter what.
Right.
Like that's where this came from. And it was like, hey, what is that lure? We just had people just started asking. Started off small, started off slow, and it was like, and we had shops calling, and like we weren't even doing lures. Like we were just, like I said, making them ourselves, and we were throwing them and catching fish on them, and we were, hey, this is neat and that's neat, and we like these UV colorants. They really seem to make a difference. We got these glows that we incorporated into it. You see the red and the blue and everything, and the really bright green glow, and they're in all the different colors. And it's like, but it's like it was all like proven to make a difference, at least for us and our style of fishing, before we put anything out there. And everything we sell is stuff we use and we started off with. And so that's just kind of what happened was we started making these for ourselves, and we started playing with colors, and we want this and that. And it all stemmed from being out there on the water. Like, right now, like that color would be something neat, and so we then go back and make 2 or 3 different versions of it. And then the next weekend we'd go out and throw them and be like, oh, wow, catching fish on this one.
Yeah.
And like, wow, that's cool. Like we really started getting into it, like catching fish on stuff you're making and everything.
That's really.
And
I mean, we get the same satisfaction, and I
yeah,
can throw a plug out there, right? There's something around like we build rods, right? And like me, the way I got into rod building was like you build it, like you spent all the time into it
yeah,
and try to understand it, and then like when you catch something on something that you like put your
yeah,
hands on, it's like
yeah,
we're tying a fly. It's why people are so passionate about
yeah.
that too.
Yeah, like I had that from I learned how to do that from my granddad too. So like I kind of had that experience, but I never really
I got
had
a
it
question
right.
for you on the lures. Did y'all start using garlic since the very beginning, or is that something that y'all did as y'all
Oh, the whole
started using
scent
more?
thing. All right, so scent. I don't know how many people have seen Anchorman, but scent is like 60% of the time it works every time. Like some days it
60 or
freaking
90?
matters absolutely, like 100% you need it. Like other days you don't, but it never hurts to have it. So it's like I always used to carry Procure butt juice,
Yep.
right? Like I didn't like using it, but it was like some days you just had to
I
have
produce my
a
own.
scent there, right? Yeah, it's like just
You bag it home.
Asia just puts them out on the trip down and turns on the seat warmer.
Just ba-
Is that a new color? I guess so.
It's the puro third.
uh,
But
tamale.
What is it? Elias on it. We have to take
Tamale,
the wrapping of
tamale scented lures.
James got a question.
Jesus.
So James has asked a question here. So it's what is more important, the design or colors? I think we touched on this a little bit, but we'll kind of let you answer James' question here.
What do you like design? As far as design goes, man, like if you're throwing lures down here, like if you're throwing any of the brands that are, ours or Norton or Kelly Wiggler down south, I mean, they're all trying to mimic the same baits, right? It's a 3 to 5 inch shrimp to bait fish, little crab. It's stuff these fish are eating. So it's not like a as far as the design goes, I wouldn't really worry too much about that. I'd put more into getting those the variety of colors
The
and
colors. Yep.
and as far as starting off with what color, just match the water, right? We were talking about that earlier. Like if you're in clear water, throw a clearer color. If you're in darker water, murky water, throw a darker, murkier color. If you're in kind of slightly murky water, maybe throw that natural looking one, or something that might just little see through, but it still pops out like the chicken shark. It's a fluorescent chartreuse. It's see through, but it's still like definitely there.
Yep.
Um, and just kind of play off of that based on what you have success with. I mean, that's basically what I'm getting at. Is like you just like that's how you just start, and then based off of what ends up working for you, you just got to work off of that. And that's why I keep saying like, I've been fishing. I can comfortably say I've been fishing down here for like I don't know, call it 12 years, 13 years. Right? I was
Okay.
10, 13 years ago. So that's where I'll draw the line. That's where I learned how to use a baitcaster. That's where I'll
At
draw.
10
I
years old,
still don't know how to use it.
Bro,
you learn,
I
bro.
shit you not. I asked for one when I
Sam
was
made
in
me a
like,
rod 2 years ago, and I just finally started using it.
bro, I just asked for one when I was in like third grade.
Shout out to Rudy, which
And
is the one that actually fixed my damn whatever he changed on the
The,
bait
the
caster, so I
break.
wouldn't get any more
he's just
bird
like, he
nest.
just clicked every one of them on. It's
he,
like,
he didn't even
you're
do
only going
anything.
to cast 20 feet, but you
Yeah.
won't get a bird's nest. Like,
Yeah,
don't
but
worry
those
about
20
it.
feet are good.
50 cast. And, all right.
50 cats at 20 feet. Can't see
Yeah.
it.
Shit, man. Freaking
You know, on James' question, me personally, I've never made a lure myself, but I would say color. I would say color would be more important than a design. That's what I
Yeah.
personally think.
It kind of goes back to the whole like, should you be worried about a paddle tail or ball
Right.
tail
Yeah.
or curly
That's the
tail?
design, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. So
like,
color is more important.
yeah. And, sometimes, man, we want, a paddle tail and you pull it fast, it makes that little, like sometimes it makes a difference, a little vibration, a little noise. That curly tail, it's always back there moving. There's always like something like that that's moving is like, okay, that's alive.
Yeah.
That's something I can eat, right? And that's kind of what we've really tried to focus on whenever we add this stuff into the lures, right? Like anything from like the plastic we use, it's the most durable one. We've gone harder, we've gone softer. It gets kind of like hard and brittle versus soft and stretchy. So you can have a super soft, gummy, stretchy bait that you can sit there and freaking nail with a hammer and this and that and be like, oh, look,
Still
it's
good.
freaking. But you can't put a jig head into it. You can't put a screw lock into it because the plastic
Falls
just
apart.
gives and gives and
Yeah.
gives and it doesn't
No.
ever let the screw lock get in there. And it just, um, or you go the opposite where it's just a super hard, lure that yeah, it's gonna last forever, but like that
Those don't have
plastic
no
doesn't
action.
give. So if it gets pulled or it gets,
It breaks. It's
it
brittle. Yep.
tears. Yeah. Um, and so we kind of got one in the middle where it stretches a bit and it gives a little bit. And they're soft plastics, man. They're not indestructible. None of them are.
Yep.
But we've kind of gotten that to that point. Where it's like, okay, that's as good as that's gonna get, right? Like that's as tough as we can make it. Like these are lasting as long as we can get them to last. And we've tried, dude. We've gone through probably at least like 10 different plastics. and even getting the one to the point where it actually absorbs the garlic and it's infused into the plastic, and it's not just a coating on the outside. It's not just an oil that's gonna
It's
come off
embedded
and it's
into
gone.
the,
Like, you can take that lure and, dude, like, you can wash it in the
you
washing
can make
machine.
soup out of it,
You can
huh?
bite
Yeah,
the
I
head
mean,
up, and then you're like,
it does taste like garlic, not that
uh,
I'm recommending it. But yeah,
So you said it. So is it garlic? Is it? Are
yeah,
you buying
I it
batches of garlic and smashing
it's
them
got
up?
a
I mean,
Mercado de
yeah,
Chile, bro.
bro, we got one of those big wooden tubs, and I'm just in there barefoot, freaking little olive oil. No, yeah, it's just scented oil.
okay, all right.
Yeah, and every lure company has it,
Yeah,
you know, freaking they have an East scent, or they have this or that, or I've seen like coffee garlic,
that
and
sounds tasty.
yeah,
Coffee,
it's like all this.
Right?
But
espresso, extra dark.
yeah, back to the whole freaking scent thing though. I carried the bud juice, and like Albert threw I was it's the chicken chit.
That's what
Yeah,
it was called.
yeah. I think
By Perk through.
the chicken boy lure guy,
Oh,
he
okay.
makes it. It's
Yeah.
called chicken chit, like CHIT, and it's garlic scented, right?
Yeah,
So him and Dan, like that was their shit. It
That was
was
their
all the
thing.
that
garlic,
was a
right? So
shit.
that's
That was their shit.
yeah,
CHIT. So
yeah,
it was PG-13.
yeah. Don't censor me. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where the garlic started, right? And it definitely makes a difference, and we've tried a lot of stuff too that we've gone out there and be like, "Whoa, this is badass, like, it looks cool, it's like a sweet looking," but it's like, well, yeah, it doesn't really make it different, right? Like, we're not gonna like put that out there and try to sell it to somebody. It's something that's gonna, our whole thing was like, we just wanted to put a good product out there. It was like we got one here, like, that we were making for ourselves, and it's obviously a unique shape, and people were asking about it, and we gained enough popularity through just posting on Facebook and stuff that we were getting enough attention. We just decided to go for it, and got all the equipment, and everything to do it, and the packaging, and just started getting everything set up and just put them out there, and now it's where it is.
No, you guys are doing awesome, and you guys
Yeah,
are
Yeah.
tearing it
but the
up right
bottom
now.
line
So
is we just tried to pack as much into that lure as we can, right? So it's like the way I try to look at it is people say stuff like, "Oh, the eye on the jig head makes a difference," or it's got to have this, or it's got to. It's like, okay, yeah, but for me, it's like
but that's like the
that fish is looking at this little creature that's smaller than it, and that's all it's seeing. That's something alive that's smaller than me that is gonna fit in my stomach. But it's like it sees that eye, and it's like confirmation to that animal, like, okay, that's food. Like, I'm gonna eat that,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
I think good way to look at it is like kind of the 80-20 rule, right? Like 80% of the effect of that lure is based on 20% of that design or color, right? And like these other things do have factors like the eyes and
Yeah,
the ribs on it or whatever do contribute to it, but it's marginal, right? Like the big thing is the color and
yeah.
really just getting matching it
Yeah.
to the right
Color
environment you're in.
Um,
action.
yeah, yeah, I'd say so. And it's kind of what I'm getting at, when I know it's a little bit of a long, circle to get around to it, but the plastic, the garlic scent, like, it's always there. You don't always need a scent on your lure. It doesn't always make a difference, but it never
Yeah,
hurts,
you don't need
and
a
it's
raptor, but it's
there.
nice to have one.
And keep running up the freaking truck, man. Like, damn, dude.
I'm just saying, like
Yeah, it's a distraction, bro. Like,
Uh,
and so it's like, okay, so there's that, and then it's also, the whole UV thing. Like, we kind of stumbled onto that. It's like we had some UV colors that we, made colorants out of because we thought they looked cool, and said, okay, these colors look good together, and they were fluorescent, right? And we started catching a shitload of fish on them. Like, comparatively to, and we would do that. Like, okay, now we're gonna put this other one that's not fluorescent on there and see what happens, and see how much attention it's getting. And so UV light, what a lot of people don't realize is UV light will penetrate cloud cover. It penetrates deeper in the water than all the other rays of light on the spectrum. And when the UV light hits any of our glows or any of the fluorescent colors, obviously it lights up and it reflects. Um, and so you got that added visibility, and in the water, it obviously filters out a hell of a lot of the other light rays. So fish's eyes are just naturally adapted to see UV light a lot better. So I mean, it's been like one of the chicken shark, bleeding shark, a couple of our just bright ass fluorescent, like, you hit them with a UV light, and it's like freaking like
They
neon
glow, yeah.
bright. Like they don't glow like you turn the lights off and then glow,
Yeah,
but
no, no,
you
but they
hit it with
stand
the
out. Yeah,
black
yeah,
light.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it's like you can see it like on an overcast day. It looks like a highlighter. It's
Yeah.
like somebody highlighted like something in real life.
Come meet
It's
me.
weird. Yeah, like it's like somebody just took a highlighter and like drew like a highlighted line in the water, and it's like, and I mean even water that was just chocolate, 6 foot deep, and I'm just dropping this thing on a jig head down to the bottom, and the fish are
You can
finding it
see
and
it.
eating it. It's
Yeah,
like, damn, dude, like okay, there's something here.
yeah.
Let's put that into as many of these as we can. We came across, we started getting all the glow stuff. And this was all just like literally us looking
Trial and
for
error. Yeah.
different stuff for us to play with, like, and the stuff that really worked, we just started packing it into all our lures, like glow's nothing new. Red glow is, blue glow is, um, the brightness of our green glow is, as long as it lasts, the amount of colors we have it in. We've got 19 colors and like 14 of them have glow incorporated in some way, and every single color except for maybe two or three of them has a UV reflective, whether it's a powder, it's a pigment, it's a the glows themselves all reflect UV light. So like the red glow, like in a really overcast, dismal, like rainy, kind of misty day where it's not real bright, there's not a lot of sunlight getting through the clouds, that UV light's still penetrating and it's hitting that and it's lighting it up. And you'll see the red tinge to it. And like it makes a difference. 100% makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like we've
You've
seen it.
tried it. I mean, you've
Yeah.
tested, right? It's not
Yeah.
just like
Like
someone's
this is like
thoughts or
legitimate,
theories. Like
genuine from us out
proven. Yeah.
there, like like doing it for me.
Yeah. Read. So just asking,
No.
why not infuse
Uh,
shrimp pieces? So I really think the question behind that. So, my
well, they're not always eating shrimp.
yeah. So they're not always eating shrimp, but I really think like the underlying question around that is really like, do you and other than garlic? I mean, did you can you infuse with other
Oh yeah, I mean,
scents
there's a
and like
million different oils, right? Maybe you could put in there, but garlic was like the least repugnant, right?
what do you mean repugnant?
Like you get procure on your hands, and that's nasty,
It,
It's
rotten,
called butt juice for a reason, bro.
gross
it's on there for
bait.
3 or 4 days.
You
Ah,
smelled gulp. Like
Yeah.
did you
you
really
guys
come on
fish with your
strong like that
hands.
or garlic, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And
Fair enough.
so that's kind of how that decision was first made.
Okay.
And that's what I was saying. I'm not saying necessarily that it's like this one specific scent that makes a difference, as opposed to like it's a scent
Yeah.
at period
Okay.
that
Okay.
makes a difference. Sometimes.
It's yeah. Okay.
And I've definitely like 100% seen it where it's like, when I'm saying 100% seen it, I'm saying like I'm on one side of the boat and he's on the other side of the boat,
Right.
and he's got scent on and I don't, and like he's catching fish every cast and I'm not. Like that's what I mean by like it makes a difference. Like everything I say that to, that scenario has happened
Yeah. Your
several, like
experience or
enough times to
you
remove any doubt from our minds.
yeah.
And
And
one thing about with the AM lures, is that you already have a lure that has infused with something.
Yeah.
You don't
You
yeah,
have to
don't
go
have
and
to
buy
buy the
exactly.
extra,
extra.
Yeah, like you got the
butt
garlic.
juice or chicken
Yeah.
shit or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, or
And
it's
Tamale
already there.
juice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tamale juice, like it's already there. Like you don't
freaking
have to buy it.
Victor's over there just like wrapping his lures in
Tamales.
pasta.
Let's talk about that, man. Come on, man.
He
But,
wraps them in the
yeah.
the sleeves and cooks them in there with
Hey,
them
man.
and
Bring
takes
out that
them out. Cook it.
Veracruzano. And then he's asking also if y'all make lures preset with hooks.
We don't do them pre-rigged, man.
Ooh. Hit that one. Hit that one.
Oh no,
No, no.
All right.
oh, wrong button, bro. Yeah,
That would
there
have
you
found
go.
that. So I've got several buttons. Someone figure it out.
Let's
Yeah.
ask him again. Do you make lures with hooks?
No,
Good.
we are probably going to be selling hooks, jig heads pretty soon, though. We're working on that.
Yep.
We're not going to be selling them pre-rigged, but it's a plastic thing.
But it's
I
hard,
like
right? I mean,
these,
because
he
they have
likes
these moisture and
those.
like it has
Yeah.
these things to it, right? It would be hard to sell them pre-rigged. I mean, the pre-rigs I've
Yeah.
seen, they're dry, they're solid, they don't have
Yeah.
kind of that
And most people that
Hell yeah. I'll take some of those, man. Give me 2 packs.
while
with
it's
the
yeah,
cebolla.
we need to
right?
make some menudo flavored
Yeah, yeah,
lures. So start working on menudo flavored and
yeah. There we
Gotta
go.
go get
Special
talk to-
edition.
I can talk to
Freaking-
Delia. Say, Delia, we're gonna use
Yeah.
some chicken and cheese.
Yeah.
Chicken and
It's
cheese.
cream cheese jalapeno wing.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
man,
oh.
I'm gonna have to go get some some tamales tomorrow
Yeah.
morning.
Oh yeah,
So
bro. I got a buddy in McAllen now
yeah, just
cooking.
right down the road
Sick.
right here. So we
Yeah.
just get them. Actually, when my buddies come in, they come in for several things, right? They come in like they were here a few weeks ago. It was like fishing, dove hunting, and delias. And then
Rio Grande living, bro.
yeah, Rio Grande Valley, living in the valley, life in the valley. So
Those are the tourist attractions.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but
En la pulga.
and the Pulga, yeah, I'll do several of them, but anyways, so I know we've kind of ran
Yeah.
off here. We've been talking here for about an hour and a half
We could
here.
keep on going,
We,
bro.
I definitely could keep
Yeah.
on going. So I know, but
But I gotta
the
go to sleep.
Raptor is on already. I heard it turn on right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're making a
Kicking.
plug on the Raptor here, but
It made a raptor noise.
Got the AC on. Yeah.
yeah, so he's turning
But,
it on. So I think that's our cue that we start wrapping this
So
up.
AM
But
But yeah,
fishing is
just to make a long
Harlingen.
story short, started doing it for ourselves and started having success with this, curly tail jerk shad thing and just kept building on that. Started off with this and added this and that and tweaked this and did that and it was like, hey, you know, the original mo was like, uh, it had a weak point right in front of the tail, so it was like anytime a perch hit it and yanked it, it was like it would break at the front of the
yep,
tail, right? So we were like, okay, let's draw this out a little more and tweak that and design it more where it's like if you grab one of our lures at the end of the tail and the head and you pull it until it breaks, it's gonna break like right where you're holding it at the end of the tail,
okay, right
right?
where that tension. Okay,
Yeah, so you still have some of your tail left, right? So it's like it is a curly tail. If a perch grabs it and yanks it, you set the hook. I mean, I'm not saying it's impervious to it, but it's like, okay, we got it as good as we can get it, right?
yep,
And it was just constantly trying to get everything as good as we can get it, and that's what it's what it's been. Is we've just packed, we've put the glows in everything we can, the scents into everything. It's got the curly tail action on the back. It's a real versatile bait. You got the longer body on the front too, so you got that erratic jerk shad motion with just that nonstop tail back there.
How many lures
Um,
come in your bag?
it's 8 per pack.
8 per pack.
Yeah,
okay.
and
So the other thing, real here, and before we kind of give you your final thing is one thing I do like about what you guys are doing is we talked about kind of walking into a store and like figuring out what all you need to do. And one thing I do appreciate about the things you guys have done, you guys have kind of packaged that for people, right? So you have a kit that you sell that
oh
kind of
yeah,
has these
yeah,
different things, right? And it's basically a good starter kit for anyone that's looking to get in there, right? You have
yeah,
your different lures, your different colors that you'll need
yeah,
to get started. It covers all the basics in there,
mhm,
and it comes in a nice case so you can keep
yeah.
all your lures good out.
Talking about our mega box, it's I guess it'd be comparable like the Plano 3600 size boxes. It's waterproof. It's got our logo on the front, and it comes with 12 different packs of lures in it. And how we're actually going to be doing them from now on is it's just going to be $60. You get the box, and you get to pick your 12 packs.
Okay,
Nice.
So instead of it just being that set 12 colors, it's going to be, we're going to sell the boxes individually. So if you just want to get the AM fishing box, yeah. But that's going to be kind of the package deal is get the box, $60, and you get to pick your 12 packs of lures, put them in
okay,
there. Um, and and you said that is, man, like if you just want to get obviously 12 colors is more than enough to get started. I'm sitting here saying you need four,
right.
right? At the most basic level. But you want freaking okay, now you're saying I got three different brights
Darks or
and I
brights,
got
right?
three different darks and I got three different naturals and obviously I got three different whites, but say you have red glow, which is like a hard white, and you got blue glow, which is kind of a softer like bone, a little bit more translucent white, a little bit more of an off white. And then maybe you go with with pearl, and that's just like pearl's the white I'm gonna go with. Like if you're looking at my box, I'm gonna have like red, like those will be my like whites. Um, and like golden green glow could double as a bright because it's got like so it's like it lights up really well in the water and you could go with the brights with like the unts, which is holographic and silver glitter in the belly. So you got a little bit of translucency there, but it's still got that bright chartreuse back. Pink punch would be a bright that could also double as a white. It's also double as a natural because pink and white, shrimp are pink and white,
Yeah,
squid are pink and white. There's all kinds of pink and white. Some little bit different variations,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's like, man, you can just keep refining it, refining it, refining it, refining it. But you can't do that like someone can't tell you like you have to do that on your own,
yeah.
right? And
And fish.
just build off of your
Yeah.
experiences. It's like what we keep saying, what we keep going back to. It's like You can get all the starter packs. You can get all the, but at the end of the day, you just got to get out there and figure it out for
Yeah.
yourself. And it's just about going and
Step one,
yeah,
going.
if you just move somewhere new, you could be in Louisiana and I'd be like ground zero
They don't
again.
wade fish in Louisiana,
Let
man.
him. Let him do what he
Shit,
wants to
no,
do,
You
bro.
see,
bro.
well, it's not
Not with
because they
all
don't
those
want.
damn
It's not because
gators,
they don't want.
bro.
It's, well,
Hey,
it's like
Albert, you
it's
need a
like
partner?
it's actually the mud.
Monty's gone.
Monty's gone.
Yeah, dude. No way.
It's actually the
Yeah.
mud, right? They got a lot of like it's just the way it sits there,
Those
it's real,
silty.
and
Yeah.
that's really like the big reason why I know a lot of people that fish in Louisiana. I mean, I work in the oil field, so I know a lot of people that work out. Shout out to Kelsey, who's one of our fishing guides out of there, but yeah, I mean, I've
Yeah.
talked to him plenty of times. He's like, man, you can't step out of this without like even with shallow water, you're like knee deep. But anyway, so you can't
Um,
wade fish in Louisiana, but your techniques,
I
but your
fish spots
strategy,
here where I'm knee deep in the mud.
yeah. But your techniques
Only
would
when
still be the
it's
same.
worth it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's a lot of work.
it's a pain in the ass. But yeah,
Yeah.
it
But your
one of
techniques
them
would be
was
the
Thursday
same.
night, man. I freaking went out there with Albert and these two little guts. And when everything lines up right, it's like, dude, I can stand
Perfect.
in one spot and catch 100 trout. And it's like an hour window. It's like
When
an
was
hour
that?
and a half.
He didn't invite you.
When did y'all go?
We went Wednesday night. I think
Check
it
my
was Wednesday
phone.
night, Thursday
Nope, I
night,
didn't
something
call.
like that. Bro, I barely got a call. It's like, yo, I'm loading up. It's like, okay.
Okay.
Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Freaking minute man over here.
But again, kind of going back to the strategy you described is the same regardless of where you're at,
Yeah.
right? So you're going to start off with this. You're going to work it out.
Yeah.
Try to
See, like
then
I didn't
continue.
know at that spot that, at this time and at this place and with these conditions, all this shit lights up, right? Like I had fished that spot 100 times before I figured that out.
Yeah.
So it's like back to that whole wherever your local water is, your body of water you like to fish, whether it's as small as like, you're fishing Peyton's Bay and you're on a kayak and you're launching out of Mansfield and just paddling south. And so you've got like a 5 mile radius right there.
8.
Figure out that 5 mile
He knows
radius.
he's
Like know that 5 mile radius like the back of your hand, right? And you're gonna find fish somewhere in there.
Yep.
Like find out where they are in that area. It's not like all the fish are in, there's no fish in this side or there's no fish over here. And there are times a year where 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water. You hear that phrase thrown around a lot, and it's like, yeah. But there are resident fish pretty much everywhere that you can learn how to
scattered. Yeah.
catch. Yeah, I mean, it might not be catching 40 or 50 fish, but you can go out there and you can catch 8 or 9 trout and keep your 5. I mean, that's a good day, right?
Yeah.
You got fish. It's a bonus, right? I mean, but it's like just wherever your starting point is, just start. Like
Yeah.
just go. Like I've done a ton of walking weight. I grew up freaking on the island all the time. Every summer we had our trailer down in Zablanca, and I lived on the jetties, dude. Like I didn't do the beach. Like, I don't want to go sit on an umbrella and stare at the freaking waves for 4 hours. It's like, why do people think this is fun? Like
But
I
not
got
knocking it,
sand
right? That's what some
everywhere.
people like that, right? So it's just
Yeah.
whatever,
Hey,
whatever it is for
that
you,
wasn't
right?
for me. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go get on those rocks and catch some damn fish,
Yep.
And so I fished the jays all the time, and I didn't catch crap for years. And then I started figuring out little areas that I was catching fish in. I had caught fish in, lures that were working. Certain times, I'd look out and see the calm water and know, okay, well, today would be a good day to go fish.
Yeah.
The waves aren't breaking over the jetties. Like,
Every
okay,
day's good to
you
go
know,
fish.
Every day is good to be a fish.
just whatever. Obviously, I'm in first, second, third grade.
Spots might be different
It's
too.
Yeah,
rudimentary.
absolutely.
Yeah, we were 100 yards away from the jetties, and that was like a big branch out. Was me being able to go down there. That's how early on it was. But I used to fish the beach all the time too. And you don't need a boat. I mean, you can catch fish without one. It's a little bit more work.
Yeah.
You might have to paddle. You might have to walk a little bit. You might have to hike. But it's like just figure out, how to make it enjoyable for yourself because you're gonna have to be out there a lot to learn. So it's like,
You got to dedicate yourself to it, right?
yeah,
Like you
And
feel like
figure
you
out a
wanna
way
do
to
it.
do it that's fun for you
And if you
and do it
Enjoy
that
it,
way.
like you
Yeah,
said.
it's all about
You gotta
enjoying yourself.
enjoy
And
it.
it's
Yeah.
okay if you don't want to dedicate yourself. I mean, there's fishing guides in the area that can help you
Yeah.
and kind of help.
I mean,
They
if you
can
got the
push you
money
that.
for a guide, go hire a damn guide. Like seriously, you want to learn how to fish? I mean, don't just go hire whatever guide. Do your research and get a good one. But like,
So
hey,
who?
I want to
So
fish
who?
with
Who?
lures.
Listen. Like,
So
go
who?
and
So
listen.
and again, this is like a who. Like if you wanted to come fishing in the South Padre, Port Isabel, Port Mansfield area, who are some of the guys that you would call on?
Um, oh, I don't really want to start naming
All
names and
right, all right,
stuff
don't
and
worry.
hurting
Yeah,
feelings.
no worries. Okay, no,
Obviously,
no, never
I'm
mind.
gonna
Don't
give
worry.
Dan Get a plug
Yeah,
because he's been real close with us and he's worked with AM fishing pretty much from the get go. We were buddies. Albert and I have been buddies with him. Before like he was Gulp. I think he threw Kelly Wiggers in there kind of sparingly, but for 95% of the time he was throwing Gulp, and it took us like I mean, we weren't trying to be like, hey, bro, like sell these lures for us, like push these lures, push these lures, push these lures. But it was like just from going out with him because he's our buddy and him seeing us using them and being skeptical to seeing us have success with them to then all of a sudden there was a couple of trips where like he couldn't catch crap.
yeah,
Throwing a big 6-inch Gulp jerk shad. We were throwing a smaller, curly tail jerk shad that we got. And it was like, okay, we're catching fish on it and he's not. So we kind of had to win him over still, right? We weren't pushing our lures onto people. We still don't. It's like we put them out there and we broadcast it, and yeah, we're in your face and we're out on Facebook and everything, but we're not like throw this. This is the best.
yeah,
Like, this is
yeah.
the truth. This is the best.
Oh,
This
we
is
talked about that. It's colors,
Yeah.
right? It's about
yeah,
colors and fishing
yeah.
patterns and things
Colors,
to it,
fishing
And
right? So
patterns,
and so our whole
feeling
approach has
comfortable,
just been like
feeling good.
just
he's
hey,
worked for
we're
us.
gonna make this lure as good as we can make it, and it's just it's a great product that we're
Yep.
putting out. And
No
if it
But
doubt.
we
works
do
for
have a bunch
you
of good
and
guys
your
here, man.
style of
There's a lot
fishing,
of good
yeah.
guys here,
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
I
there's
There's
a
could
lot of
name
good guys.
freaking a
there's
dozen
there's
of them that I
there's
know off the top of
yeah,
my
Yeah,
head, but I'm just not gonna
yeah.
start,
No,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
But Dan, like, yeah, hey, Dan, get out. You want to freaking go catch fish on lures? He likes to fish out of the Arroyo. So if you're fishing Arroyo, Port
yeah.
Mansfield area, he loves. I mean, he's a great guy to go out with. He's got a really nice boat. He's great with people.
Yeah, I mean,
You're gonna learn something with that guy. He's gonna show you something.
and you're gonna have a good time, right?
Yeah,
And so there's plenty of them. There's Jr.,
yeah,
Andy,
Yeah.
Andres,
yeah,
and
It's
it
about
just
having a good time,
there's a
man.
lot of guys out here
Yeah,
that are
going out
really
there,
good. And so
having a good time, enjoying it.
Oh, it's also like a
And when you're out
price
there,
thing.
learn.
Like I could recommend guys that are $600 a day that you're gonna catch fish and you're gonna learn something.
Or you
But
can just wait till I post on Facebook. Who wants to go fishing?
well, yeah, right.
Yeah.
wait
Yeah.
for Victor's phone. Oh,
Yeah.
just
See,
send
those
Victor a
guys aren't
message.
charging
Yeah,
600 a day. Those guys,
Uh,
yeah, no.
yeah.
we don't charge this
Yeah.
taco for me, taco for you. Delias tamales.
Yeah.
Well,
You
now
might
we
go
know so
twice.
that he can get the scent into the
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
through his garlic
But
scented
yeah, that's
lures. So,
that's that's just what it's been is,
so last thing is so if someone wanted to buy some AIM lures, how would someone buy AIM lures?
they'd have to just we don't have our website up yet.
Okay.
Still just, sitting there,
So what's the
sitting
best
there.
way
It's
to
gonna be
buy
soon. It's gonna be within the next week or two now.
Academy.
Academy?
So we'll get that up there soon. But for right now, just get on Facebook or Instagram and message us. Facebook, just type in AM Fishing. If you the username on Facebook is AM Fishing 956,
AIM Fishing
and
956.
then on Instagram it's AM Fishing Products.
AM Fishing products.
Yeah. So if you
So
want to
most
find
taco
us on
shops
either
here
one of
have them
those,
already.
I'll add links to the descriptions below
yeah,
here.
throw it on the video,
And then
whatever.
we'll put
This
it out
and
here on
that,
the video and
yeah.
to
And
the
you
podcast.
you have my little Instagram on there, whatever, right?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
tag
it's
you on
linked
here
on
so
there.
that
You can get on there and find
you
it.
can get on here. So
Anywhere you see the lures, it's on the bags and stuff and that.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if you just want to message us, we can get your order out and
Okay.
process cards, PayPal, Venmo. I mean, whatever, however you want to pay.
So they can contact you, or they can go to any
yeah.
shop. Most shops and
Yeah,
area.
I mean, if you're looking for them from here to Corpus, there's a shop in your city that's got them, or close to.
so we were to
close enough
hit you
that's
up
got
and be
'em.
like, hey, where can I
Yeah.
find them?
Yeah, yeah, we'll let you know
can
all that stuff. Yeah, yeah.
tell me
Just
more or
feel
less.
like
Hey, where you at?
we answer all the messages that come in. We read all of them. We talk. We answer questions. People. Even seemingly like stupid questions, right? Like that's the whole thing. There's just saying a stupid question
Right.
because you don't know where that person's coming from that's asking that question.
context, right?
So it's like I ask stuff that might sound completely moronic to someone that's like you don't know what time of year it is. Like no, that's or you don't know that the moon's doing this or that
Yeah.
like I'm really getting like into the technical shit right now. Like that's where I'm kind of at with my fishing games. Like
Take it
I'm
to the
I'm
next
really
level. Level up,
trying
man.
like really trying to figure out like the specific like when to be where.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, so I'm talking to guys that I'm trying to form a relationship with people that I know that kind of stuff and have that information and it's you got to be able to provide value in return, right? Like I got the lures, I can build rods, I can, I can do all that kind of stuff for people. I can hold my own. I go on a boat with somebody, and I'm not a liability. I'm pulling my own weight. I'm pitching in
Or
for
you add
the
value,
gas.
right?
I'm
You're
pitching in for the group. You're getting lures from me. You're getting, hey, you need your rod
so
fixed or
if you want
whatever. I
someone to
can
go
do
fishing
that.
with,
It's like
come on,
that's what I'm
this is
saying.
my.
That's just one way that I've figured how to create these relationships with people and get close to people that I'm trying to learn from and trying to up my game. That's kind of what I was getting at earlier. Is like I can honestly say I've been fishing down here for 13 years, and I've been doing this for 13 years, and I can say I've learned more
But
in the
13
past.
years are not like your 13 years are not my 13 years, right? So,
No,
so that's the other thing too,
Yeah.
right? I mean, your
I'm just
13
saying
years,
like when I say that,
Yeah, you live to
like
die then. I mean,
well,
shit.
no, like
when
13, your 13 years is like 20 some of mine or 30 some of my
well, I'm
years of
talking about
fishing.
like consistently fishing,
No,
right?
absolutely. I
Like
know that's what
like
I'm
I could
getting at.
say
Yeah.
I've been fishing my whole life, right? But to say that I've been like consistently out there trying to learn, trying to get better, like seriously fishing, it's been 12, 13 years. I mean, I was really into it at an early age, like I said, and I stayed into it. I was at the jetties by myself. Like I wasn't getting taken to the jetties. I wanted to go fish the jetties. I just wanted to fish. If we were at the beach, I was trying to fish in between the people. I mean, it like I just had that from an early age, so I was always going after it, always trying to just fish as much as I still do. But I can say I've learned more in the past 2.5 years to 3 years, and I've made just an incredible amount of progress compared to the first 10. Obviously, I was a lot younger and the time frame just whatever, but the thing has been the relationships I've formed in the industry, the people that I've gotten close
Yep.
to, the people that I'm fishing with, that I'm learning from, and it's not even like showing you the spots and showing you places and areas, but you know, it's kind of on you as a mentee, if you will, to get up to that level, right? To improve and progress, and I'm not.
You got to want to do it, right? Like
Yeah,
it's got
and
to be like your
and
passion. You got to have some interest
yeah,
around it, right?
yeah, and
It's gonna
and
be an addiction.
and
Yeah, it's gonna be an
you gotta be
addiction.
able to pull your weight, right?
Sure.
Like that guy doesn't like dragging you around. He's not gonna be wanting to freaking hold your hand and this and that. Like I get to fish with the people I get to fish with because, like Victor was saying, man, set it, forget it. Like just drop me off, bro. Like don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Or you I can handle myself. Like I know my shit. I got my shit. I'm prepared. I got my whatever. Um, but it's like you can hold your own with those guys, right? You're not. Uh, God, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying not
you're
to.
making it easy for,
Yeah,
for them, right? You're not slowing them down.
yeah.
You're kind of going
You're
along for the
helping them help
ride,
you,
and you're helping them, right?
and
It's
being
just
there to
like
learn and being flexible and showing up on time and having a good attitude out. All that little shit, goes a
all the
long
little
way.
things. Yep.
Yeah.
So
You're out there being a little shit, or you're freaking just pissed off all the time, or you lose a fish and you want to snap your rod in half. Or you're just being, people want to be around that, right? It's like, and being coachable too, right? I'm not saying you got to be out there and just freaking listening to orders. This guy's barking all the time, or this chick, or
I
whoever
bark
you're learning
orders
from.
on my boat.
Yeah,
If you're
right.
on my boat, you're gonna get ordered around to do something,
Yeah,
dude. So
but it's like you got to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's like, hey, we're at this spot. Don't walk too fast. You're gonna walk through the fit. Don't freaking ruin it for everybody. Sometimes we're all walking in a line. And it's like, dude, if you get too far ahead of the people in line, you're gonna
security.
spook these fish. So it's like, no, I don't want to be worried about this dude that's trying to go too fast and burn the spot. We're all just like, sometimes it's a gut,
Yeah.
and you're just standing there not moving, fishing the gut, and some fool walks through it. Like, but it's like if you tell that guy not to do it, and
Oh,
then he
but he
does it.
does it because he doesn't know better, right?
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
but
mean,
that's what I'm
yeah,
sometimes that's
saying.
what
Like
it is.
you know,
you gotta be
open
coachable to
minded.
the
Yeah.
point, and it's
You
kind of
always
who you're
gotta learn.
fishing with too, right? Like I know people fish with me to learn from me, and then I fish with people to learn from them, right? So it's
It's a mutual
like I
type.
try to I
Yeah.
try to really be conscious of where I'm at, and I'm not saying these people are not as good as me or not as good a fisherman as I am or whatever, but
It's
it's
different.
like they're asking me questions, right? Like they're trying to learn different techniques, or they're asking why I'm using this jig head, or they're asking why I'm throwing this color, or they're
Yeah.
asking, so like I recognize that, and I'm just like I pass it on like as much as I can, right?
Absolutely.
Um, and everything I pass on is stuff I'm getting from people that I
Yep.
consider above me, right? Like I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna like,
Keep it to myself and
yeah, you know,
I'm gonna hoard
like, oh, I
everything and
know and you don't,
yeah.
you know, like I don't get anything out of that, you know,
I
like I'm not.
blindfold people when they go with me.
You blindfold people. I don't. I take all the
I
people
take
to the
them off
spots
and
where I don't catch fish,
Yeah.
I take the
which
blindfold
is
off and we're still at the dock, but it didn't
Yeah.
turn on, bro. Or didn't turn on.
I go with people and I tell them, so where the fish at?
Where the fish at?
Yeah.
They get on my boat and they're like, so where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, the most important part about everything is I'm always gonna go back to having fun,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It comes
Yeah.
back
it,
to
man.
Yeah.
comes back
Learn
to
as you
that.
go. Learn as you go. When
Yeah.
you do get to go with somebody, try to learn.
Yeah.
Even to my, I don't, I'm not the best. But
I
when
could
I
have told you
go,
that. I
yeah.
mean, I
But
think
when
I've
I
told
go
you
with
that.
somebody, I want to learn.
Yeah.
When I went with you offshore, I learned that I thought it was so cool because I got to sit in the front, and then I realized
Yeah,
nobody
yeah, you
else
sit in
sat.
front. Yeah,
Spot,
Yeah,
nobody
so I
wanted.
learned.
Nobody
There's
else
a
wanted to sit
reason
in
you
the
got
front.
that. Like,
So I
yeah.
learned. I was like,
Yeah, nobody was fighting you for
okay,
that.
yeah, nobody wants to cheer for a reason.
Yeah.
Right, so I learned my back learned it the hard way.
Yeah.
But go out there, have a good time,
Absolutely.
enjoy it.
Get out in the
Yeah.
water, have a
Enjoy
good
it.
time, and do
You know,
that. So
And like one thing I've for sure learned like above everything else is it's like the more I learn, it's like the more you learn that you don't know.
yep,
Like,
you don't know what you don't know until
and
you
that's
learn.
that's kind of a barrier for some people too. Is it's like they get out there and they want to act like they know it all, and they want to act like they got their shit, they're the shit, and they catch fish all the time, and they're badass. And it's like dude, like there's so much that goes on out there that like we as humans probably haven't even figured out.
And we never will. Like there's
Like
you don't have that much
that's the
time, man.
great
I mean, you
mystery
see shit out there. So,
about fishing.
There's one.
That's a great mystery about fishing, bro. You
Yeah,
just never
you
know what
just
you're gonna catch.
you're out there and you see stuff sometimes. And you're just like, what?
What's going
Like,
on? Yeah.
and it still happens to me. So yeah, it's like, man, as much as I've been out there, as much as I am out there, I fish once, twice, at least once a week now. Like I've got my license to the point where I fish at least once a week. It's usually twice. This week it's been like 4 or 5 times.
Lucky.
But yeah, it's just
Show off. Yeah.
And one time I followed I was out fishing with my buddy Leo Cavazos.
Leo,
from
Barber Leo,
Papichulos. Yeah, man.
Papichulo Leo. You need
Yeah,
to get
Papichulo
faded up. I
Leo,
need to
man.
get faded up. So
That's where I went today, man. He cleaned me up, and
because you were coming here, right?
yeah,
yeah.
and so I was waiting and I said, man, there's a school of reds over there, and he's like, nah, those aren't reds. I said, okay, I'm gonna go get them, and I walked all the way back, and it was a school of damn stingrays, and I was like, ah.
It's
Yeah,
part of the
well,
experience.
now you know what a school of stingrays looks like.
Yeah, I learned
Yeah.
as the little things were flapping up,
yeah.
and then there were tails.
Yeah, there were tails.
Yeah.
Huh?
And I was like,
And
this
it's like
sucks.
even on the days that you don't catch fish, like
You learn.
you can learn, like try to pick out something, right?
But that's life. I
know?
mean, you learn a lot from losing.
Yeah.
It's nice to win, but it's you learn just
You
as
learn
much
more
from
You
losing,
probably
right?
learn more from losing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So taking those losses is good.
Like
You
not
learn a
getting
lot
10
when
pound
you're in
line,
fish,
getting
though,
20
too.
pound line.
Yeah,
You learn a lot when you're in fish.
You learn a lot when you're catching fish.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's what you're trying to figure out is how to catch them. So when you're in them, it's like, dude, like absorb everything.
But it's a lot of
What's
it has to
going
do
on
like
all around you.
how
Yeah.
you got into the fish, right? So like what led you to the fish? Like where
Yeah.
were you? And like yeah, when you're in the fish, like I mean again, or say that again. I saw
Yeah.
people catch redfish on a jalapeno, right? It was like, well, they're
Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah.
And so like, but how did I
They're
find?
there
How did I
and they're
get here?
freaking
Birds.
feeding like crazy.
Mullet.
Yeah.
There's
So,
gonna be
just-
signs out there that help you
Yeah.
figure out where the fish are gonna be at. For me, because I'm like with having my boat that I'm just starting, I like to go on my own sometimes. I like to go on my own. So if I skunk out, nobody knows. I mean, I don't know for that. I like to go on my own because I like to learn.
So you
know,
can
how
make
to
your
drive
own
my boat,
tamales.
how to
Yeah.
drive my boat, how to position it,
Yeah.
what to look for. And you're always learning.
Yeah.
If you stop learning,
Yeah, like you got to do a lot of
Something's wrong.
like you got to learn a lot of shit for yourself. But there's obviously a ton of knowledge out there. There's a ton of people that have done it and continue to do it. And you just got to find one you get along with and try to get on their level. And then once you're there, it's like, okay, now we're getting better together.
Yeah.
Now we're improving together. Now we're playing off each other together. It's like I'm branching off and getting stuff from these guys, and Albert's branching off and getting stuff from these guys, and we're both going out and figuring stuff out, and then it's all just, but they were kind of like, okay, we're gonna bring you up to my level, and then we're gonna figure this out. and we're gonna be a team now, and we're gonna, progress forward together. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about with, like, you know, forming that relationship with someone, and getting out with them, and you know that that will, like, help your game and progress you along as an angler just so much faster than just getting out there and doing it yourself.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
it's a support system. Having a group
it's
of
a whole
buddies, right?
brand
Yeah,
new
yeah.
world,
So
like underwater is like you can't see it.
That's a song from a Little Mermaid.
You're not in it,
A brand
you
new
know.
world
Yeah,
underwater.
yeah, where's that freaking, yeah, no, that one. Yeah.
or this one? No, not that one.
Uh,
Shit.
maybe less buttons.
Yeah.
Less
Did
buttons.
someone say something?
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up,
All right,
guys.
let's
I
wrap
gotta
this
go
up.
get
So,
tamales, man.
so
I
Victor's
gotta get
definitely
up
got
in
to go
like
to
4
Monte.
hours. Fuck.
He's got to go fishing tomorrow. So definitely, Monty,
Yeah,
thanks for
look out for
coming out
that
here.
video. It's supposed to be something. I don't know.
Thanks. We definitely appreciate you coming out
Yeah.
here. Definitely, yeah, you definitely showed us all that you know a lot about lures, as well as kind of all the technical side of it, and you're
Yeah.
kind of explain where you're at in your journey. So we'd love to sit down with you again and kind of learn more
Yeah.
about that
And like I said, man,
aspect of it. So
I'm not trying to cut you off, but I'll share
Yeah, but you
everything I
did.
know. But like in my mind, I don't know shit.
yeah.
Like
I mean, like, but you know,
that's how I go out there every day.
you have to have that mindset, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm out here to learn, right? Like, you can't,
Yeah.
like you said, you can't think you know it all, and you're out here to learn. And you got to go be
As
open
soon as you
minded.
think you know, you don't.
Yeah, so
Like it's gonna humble you. You're gonna
Right.
go out there and it's just gonna be
you're gonna
like,
skunk out. You're gonna have
yeah,
You don't think you
something's
know
gonna
it all, but you
happen.
gotta have confidence.
Yeah, like
You
yeah,
gotta go there with
that's
confidence.
different than knowing it all.
you got to be
right?
decisive.
Like I'm gonna
You
go
got
there
to
and
have
catch a bunch of
confidence.
fish today. When you get out, you know what? I didn't want to fillet anyways.
That's what I look at it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
I want to fillet
Yeah.
anyways.
but
Go hit
definitely,
Frankie Flaves and just chill.
Hell yeah.
just chill. Frankie plays. Big shout out to Frankie plays. But
I'm hungry. Like
but
Oof.
but thanks again for coming out here. And so just for all of the people that made it through the entire 2 hours of our video, definitely thanks for staying tuned. We do have a few questions for you guys. So first of all, let us know if you're fishing AM lures. Comment below. If you're not fishing AM lures, let us know what other
you need to
lures you
start.
are. Let us know what lures you're fishing, what colors you like, and along those lines.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like to get people's thoughts on. So this is our first podcast, or we kind of did this YouTube video, and so the idea around this is that we want to speak with Monty to talk about lures. We definitely talked a lot about but a bunch about a lot of other things. But if you have specific topics that you'd like to talk about, add them here below, and we'll bring in the appropriate experts, if you will, or thought leaders, or people that are familiar with those type of questions, and bring them in here.
At least
Eh,
people that sound like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
to answer
like
them.
Monty, like Monty.
Monty.
And the third question is really I want to. The third thing is so just really want to make
Shut up,
it's,
crickets.
the third one is really a plug for our next podcast. So this is episode 1. Episode
Yeah.
2 is going to be
Giving me
recorded.
homework.
What's that? Yeah, so this is homework for our watchers here. Episode 2 is actually I'm sitting down with some of the game wardens. Actually, I'm gonna try to see if Victor can sit down with us, but it's
You're crazy.
yeah, they're gonna want to see his picture and his
Pictures like that.
fishing.
But
But
I'm just here to sweep, sir. I'm just here to sweep. You said
but
border
yeah,
patrol. Or
so,
did you say?
no game wardens, not border
Okay,
patrol.
I'm
You're
good.
good. So,
I
but
got my license.
but yeah, the idea around sitting down with the game wardens is really to kind of ask them some of the really share some of their experiences, some of their knowledge, get them to explain some of the recent changes in laws, as well as the things that they see, common violations out there. And really, it's going to give our community an opportunity to ask the game wardens any question you have. So I'm sitting down with
so get them ready.
so start add your questions here. Message us on Facebook. Message DM us, and any kind of questions you have around that. So we'll be recording that here in a few days. And yeah, so thanks again, Monty, for coming out
It's my
here.
podcast
Those are your
glasses.
podcasting glasses. We should have done this the whole time.
Yeah,
You should have been
I
wearing
just
those.
saw them on the table. I was like,
Your
man, I missed it.
your level of credibility just
Yeah,
went
my
up, but
credibility
really
just went up.
critical, just like the video artificial.
Yeah.
So, but
Art,
yeah, so but anyways, thanks again for coming, guys. If you guys haven't tried out aim lures, get on them. uh they do great products, and we use them. Victor uses them almost exclusively, or if not exclusively, and so they're out there. So reach out to Monty if you have any questions, or want to learn more about his lures,
or Albert.
or Albert. Yep. So
You
I
guys
want to
reach
clear
out
something
too.
out. Yes, I use them This is the only lure I use now, but it's not because they're asking me to. It's because I really enjoy fishing with
No,
it. It's
absolutely.
it's
So, so,
my
so yeah.
it's my
So
decision.
they definitely make a
Yeah,
great product, and so I think Monty was being a little humble around kind of what they do and the success people have had around it. But definitely there's a lot of people out there that are fishing and catching fish with them. If you don't have to believe me or Monty or Victor, you can get out on Facebook or Instagram and you see people posting them out
yeah.
there, and even like there's a
And
lot
we
of
get a lot
guys
out of
even
that,
like
man.
like Joaquin's posting his
Yeah,
videos, right? And he's
Yeah.
showing people where he's catching fish,
yeah,
where he's catching them, how he's catching them using your lures.
yeah. That guy puts out some great
Yeah,
videos.
so
Yeah,
it's definitely the guys from Stoic are doing a good job. I think recently, yeah, there's a fly in here kind of bugging around, and yeah, thanks, thanks. I definitely heard that clap there, but
you want
yeah, but
another
anyway, so thanks again for coming by, and like I said, thanks for you guys that made it by. If you haven't had a chance, like our video, subscribe to our channel,
yeah.
and we'll be putting out more content like this again, hopefully pretty soon. So this YouTube video will be it will be stayed live here on our archive, and then like the audio part of it, I'll clean it up, cut it up. Although actually, this was actually pretty clean. There
Who
really
was
was.
who was the first person to ask a question?
Yeah,
Let's see here.
give
What's our
that person a shout out.
giveaway? Well, let's see here. Hold on, let me get my computer
Oh yeah,
here.
that's right. We do the 2 packs.
So we have a
Yeah.
few
What?
packs. Oh man, I just lost my live stream. What just happened?
Damn.
No, I think I'm going to Safari. My
We're
Safari
still
does not.
here.
My
We're
Safari.
alive.
You're on live,
Live
suckers.
action, baby.
The
Yay!
first question that was the first question or the first comment or both?
First question.
First question
Give
was
it to both of them. Shit.
so what are y'all drinking? Does that count as a question?
That's a
That's a
question.
I
question,
guess.
right?
Yeah.
So
Hey,
Yeah.
so James
technically yes.
but he didn't put a question mark on there, so I don't know if
So
it
Yeah,
was
it doesn't matter. It's internet. You
it's
don't
the
need to put
internet. So,
punctuation.
so
Yeah.
punctuation doesn't
Who
matter
was
on
the
the
first?
internet.
Who was
So
the first person out
You
there
don't need
though?
to put it on the internet because everyone will just put it on there for you.
yeah. So yeah. So it's James Hernandez Wallow, also known as Wallowitz. And so he will give
Oh, well,
him.
Wallo has fish AM lures because when he went with me, yeah, he went with me.
He
Yeah,
did
he
fish
went
with
with
the
me at the tournament, the
yeah,
shallow
the
sport
shallow sport
tournament.
tournament. You're
Yeah,
right.
so
Did he
he's
fish
used
with
AM
you?
lures
So
before. As a matter of
so
fact, all the fish he caught were in AM lures
all the fish
on a popping cork.
on a popping
Yeah,
course. So
Yeah. Hey, they
so
work
yeah.
great on their popping
so
corn, man.
so I think we owe Wallow 2 packs of lures here, and we'll get them out to you, Wallow. I think actually he's coming down. He's out in Montgomery up in Conroe, but
Montgomery's right here.
Yeah.
Montgomery. Oh, he's
Later,
in
man.
Conroe,
Oh,
Texas.
I thought
Conroe,
that
so
was
he's
Montgomery.
watching from up there. But so Wallow, you just got
Only the
two
coast,
packs of
bro.
lures, and we'll get them out to you. So but again, thanks guys. If you guys haven't had a chance, we've gone out here. This is much longer than I thought we were doing. I'll figure out how to kind of shorten these up and make it sweeter and kind of more to the point. But actually, I really enjoyed this. It was a fun
It's fun, man.
conversation. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was different. It was new for all of us. And so again, if you haven't had a chance, subscribe to our channel, as well as like our videos here below. So thanks again for watching, guys, and stay tuned. The podcast will get put out there on iTunes and Spotify. So thanks again. All
Check it
right,
out.
thanks
Peace
guys.
out.
See you guys later.
Go out and fish.
Get out there and fish.
Fish.
All right, we do want to end our end stream. All right.